Another wonderful evening of excitement at up to 140 kilometers an hour awaits us here in the beautiful and sun-setting city of Brussels in Belgium. We are live for our next stop of the Drone Champions League. Welcome to nothing less than the Mont, our beautiful square, which gave us great entertainment last year in our 2017 season. We were racing here in a slightly different direction. We're back for some more fun in the capital of Belgium. I'm Matt Andrews. Martijn de Kemp joins me on this side of a desk rather than that side of a controller.
Yes.
Happy memories of being here last year?
Well, I didn't perform that well, but it's amazing to be here, man.
Yeah.
Really, it is. Yeah. I've been alongside you. I've had the pleasure to be alongside you this entire season. But this is the first location I am, as a commentator, that I actually flew at last season. So it brings back a lot of good and positive memories, but also, unfortunately, some bad ones.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
there it
some
is.
crashes and some problems.
Well, we had a tricky challenge for our pilots here at the Mont last year, and a different and still tricky one awaits them. We've changed the track, but we are still in this beautiful city. So thanks to everybody at Brussels for welcoming us back. The Drone Champions League is so pleased to be here for 2 more Drone Prix. Remember, we do 2 everywhere we go, 1 this evening and 1 tomorrow. That's Brussels. That's the town hall next to the Grand Place in the centre of Brussels. Arguably, many people say, the prettiest town square in the world. And yes, that was a statue of a boy doing what you thought he was. That's the mannequin piss, and that's its name. This is the Atomium, an amazing structure. It's about 50 or 60 years old. There are beautiful shopping centres. There's chocolate. I like a bit of chocolate around here. They also got a bit of a sweet tooth for a lot of things, really. Waffles, yeah, we'd like some of that. You got any with you, Martijn?
No, I don't. No, unfortunately not. No,
we are surrounded by chocolate, waffles, chips,
I had some of those.
Have you?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I still haven't had any of those. Okay. Well, the Mont Arts. Historical place that it is, built many, many years ago by royalty, designed by royalty. It's a lovely park that people come and while away a beautiful evening watching the sun go down over drones whizzing all around it. Because we got it, it's ours, at least for today and tomorrow. And that's the town hall that we saw earlier on in the video, the Grand Place. That's its tall tower overlooking what we are going to do. And what we are going to do is bring the world's best professional drone racing pilots to you for 2 more races today and tomorrow night before our final location of the year, which is Zurich in a few weeks' time, and then we will crown the world champion of the Drone Champions League for 2018. And we told you they're flying up to about 140 kilometers an hour. This is the sort of thing that we're talking about. This is one of our drones. Martijn, the drones differ from team to team, but they're very much along these lines.
Definitely. Actually, this is the exact design that the Chinese team is flying with. Yep, it's a nice machine. It covers 2 cameras, so we have a GoPro camera in front that's not in here actually, and underneath there is the FPV system, and that's what we use to fly with. Amazing gear, and those pilots really push it to the limit. So it's just a wonderful machine, isn't it?
I mean, it's ugly. I've said it.
It's not about looks, it's all about performance. Yeah.
It's ugly in a kind of raw, loved by its parents, gets the job done kind of way. It is a technological marvel, is what it is, that these things go as fast as they do. What's even more amazing is the pilots who can fly them as well. So it's a quadcopter. The pilots can change various things about it, but we have weight limits they have to fit within certain components that they have to have. As Martijn said, GoPro goes in here for recording for our TV magazine. Don't miss that. It's on 100 channels around the world. But the pilots fly with that. And what you see on this stream and what you see live tonight is exactly what the pilots are flying with. The picture you see is exactly what they are operating under. And we've talked a lot about the pilots who are doing it. Let's introduce you to a few of them now.
What's up, guys? We're Quad Force 1, representing Team USA, and I'm the team captain, and my name's Alex Campbell.
Alex is a very fast pilot who just lets it eat. My name's Andy Murray Killian.
This is Andy, Doma FPV. He practices for all of his races by playing a lot of Fortnite, and somehow he's able to come out here and kill at every race.
I'm John Templeton, aka JT FPV. John is a very calm pilot, and he thinks throughout the race, making sure he gets the right decisions done.
My name's Evan Turner, and I go by Heads Up FPV.
This is Evan Turner, regional finals #1 and the fastest human being in the USA right now. We're 2nd place right now, but after Brussels, that's going to change.
Hello, we're a team riding from Japan. This is Takumi. He's the youngest boy and very pretty. This is Kazuma. Kazuma is a funniest boy. Yeah, he is a mood maker. And this is Axel Mario. He's a very fastest guy in our team.
And this is Junichi Goto. He's our team captain. He may be old, but his spirit is like a teenager. Right now we're on the 4th overall team. And today in Brussels, we are going to make it in first.
Two teams who are confident that they are both going to come away with Brussels with wins to their names, them being Quasforce 1 and DMM Raiden Racing. And it is possible that they'll both come away with a win, Martijn, because we are doing 2 races here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. First time today. Next race is tomorrow.
Hang on. First time today that I'm right, or first time today that we're racing? Wait a minute. Yeah, we're doing a whole set of racing now. Practice was yesterday, qualifying was earlier on today. Races are upon us very, very shortly, and then we will have more qualifying and more races tomorrow. And it might be completely different matchups who get to race each other in these conditions, which tonight, as the sun sets, is around 80 mile an hour winds and about 13 degrees southwesterly if you're into your angles. Martijn, when you're in windy conditions, and it's been worse earlier today, I think, in qualifying than it was right now. You can see there the trees are moving around a little bit. What's it like flying in windy conditions? What do you have to think of as you're mid-race?
Well, it definitely affects you. The thing is, don't think about it, don't overthink it. Okay. Because whenever a pilot starts to think, usually that's when the mistakes are made. But the conditions are very challenging, especially in the far corner of the track. It's quite difficult. The wind can really catch the drone because these machines are still so light. It's challenging for the pilots, Yeah, we have to see who can handle it.
We've got pilots who know their way around windy and wet conditions. We thought we'd have some rain tonight. So far, that seems to be not the case, at least for today. Maybe it'll come and get us tomorrow instead. We've had weather come back on day 2. That threatens day 1. We were at the Great Wall of China a few weeks ago in Simmental, having 2 races there, and the rain came and went. It won't stop us. Very little can stop us. That's the Mont then, and that's our course for 2018. We'll fly around it in a little bit, but first, if you've never seen the Drone Champions League and you know that we're flying these drones quite fast, but how does it all come together with our pilots? Allow me to explain. We have 8 professional drone racing teams, the best in the world, and each team has 4 pilots. And earlier on, as I said, they did qualifying. We take the best 2 consecutive lap times for each of our pilots and add them together, and then add all of those pilots on a team together and make a cumulative qualifying time for the team. From those, we will rank the teams from 1st to 8th, and then in our quarterfinals, first are raced 8th, 4th against 5th, 3rd against 6th, and 2nd versus 7th. Sometimes, if you know the DCL well, we do have 9 teams. We have a local wildcard team. Only 8 join us here in Brussels. The winners of the quarters go to the semis. The winners of the semis, of course, go to the finals. And this today is just one Drone Prix of the 10 that we have throughout 2018. So all the points that they get add up to places for the season, looking to be our world champion. Our single heats will go first. In every one of the quarter semis and finals, we'll have 4 single heats, 1 versus 1. Every pilot will take on one of their opposition, starting with the slowest in qualifying on each team and ending with the fastest on qualifying for each team. Win that, and you'll score 1 point for your team. So after 4 single heats, and everyone's had a go, you could be 4-0 up or down, but then the big heat, unique to the DCL, could change everything, because if you win the big heat, and that is all 8 drones in the air at the same time, you'll get 1 point, but if a teammate comes in second behind you, you'll get 2. If you can come in first, second, and third, you'll get 3, and what was a 3-1 deficit against you could get turned around. If you're 4-0 down, though, getting all 4 points at the top is what you'll need by coming in first, second, third, and fourth. It has to be consecutive places. You can bag a lot of points in the big heat. All 8 drones flying in the air, a wonder to behold, and as the sun sets here in Brussels, the night sky lights up with our drones. It's a great thing to see what you can do. It's one thing being in a single heat against one other drone. It's another thing when there are 7 other drones around you, Martijn, and 3 of them are your teammates.
Definitely, yeah. The flying with 8 drones at the same time is absolutely amazing. Not just for the pilots, because you have like this swarm of drones flying around, but also for the spectators. It just looks phenomenal. You know, these drones are lit up beautifully with LEDs. Each team has its own color. It's going to be amazing.
On our stage, we will be placing those teams very shortly as we get in the first quarter-final. They'll have to race in front of all of this audience who are joining us here in the Mont Arts. But they won't see them because they'll be wearing FPV goggles, so they can at least get a little bit into their zone. But nevertheless, some of the pilots like to face backwards. Some of them like to heads down and get used to it. But they're all doing that on our stage, and watching over them is Chief Judge Lucas Baumann, who's keeping an eye with his amazing team of spotters to make sure everything is legal in our professional sport. They do have to, of course, make all the right turns on the course. When they bring their drones here, everything is checked to make sure it's within parameters. And if anybody feels like they've had an issue during a race, maybe they've lost the picture and they can't see where they're going, we will look into a protest if they wish to file one. And if it turns out that it's a trackside issue, they get a rerun. If it turns out it's a problem with their drone, they don't. And that's what Lucas Baumann and his team will look after for us. So, told you a little bit about the Mont Arts, shown you it from above, but let's go down, let's go amongst the gates and show you exactly what our pilots have got to deal with. And let's do that with the Chief, Alex Campbell of Quad Force 1.
My name's Alex Campbell, my pilot handle's Chief. I fly for Quad Force 1, and today we're gonna walk through the Brussels track. We're gonna take an aggressive start to the other end of the track, 180-degree hairpin turn into the Breitling gate, and up to the next yellow pylon. We're gonna exit the yellow pylon on the right, going into an aggressive split S into the Ibis gate. We're gonna enter the gallery, and it's very tight. We're gonna exit the gallery, come around the blind pylon, and into the trickiest section of the track, the anti-gravity gate. We're going to be coming in full speed, entering through the bottom and exiting through the top into the double corkscrew. The corkscrew is really the most technical part on the track for me, because the tighter you stay in the corkscrew, the faster your line's going to be and the less time it's going to take you to get out of it. We're going to make a left-hand turn around the right side of the DCL yellow pylon and back to the Breitling gate. On the final lap, we go straight from the DCL gate to the Red Bull crash gate. Thanks everyone for watching, and enjoy the race.
The Red Bull crash gate awaits. That's our finish line, and you do have to go, and it may seem obvious, but I'll explain it because I think it's important. You do have to go in, not just hit it.
Yep.
Because we've had a few, haven't we, Martijn?
Yeah.
We've had a few near finishes.
Near finishes, actually some quads ending up inside of the crash gate. Inflatable plastic, obviously.
Yeah, you don't mean the netted hole bit in the middle, you mean inside an inflatable.
Yep.
After the 6 races we've had so far this season, and bearing in mind you win 250 points for winning them, 220 for coming second, or 200 for third, you can see Rotorama have done very well, as have Quad Force 1 and Next Blades Racing. They're our top 3 teams at the moment. Rotorama from the Czech Republic leading the DCL season for 2018. Our American new team, Quad Force 1, not far behind them, and Next Blades Racing, the reigning world champions from last year. They aren't far behind either. But then DMM Raiden Racing have a little bit of work to do to catch up, and behind them it's a bit of a bigger gap before China Dragons, Swiss Black Kites, Wild Prop, Hellhound and Air Carvers Germany bringing up the rear of the pack. Their season is pretty much done. Next Blades Racing, though, in qualifying today, look like they decide they don't like being third in our table. They'd like to go back up to the top where they did so well last year. They are quickest in qualifying over Quad Force 1 and Rotorama. Those 4 teams, including DMM Raiden Racing, the top 4 in our leaderboard for the season. We've seen this again and again, Martijn. Those 4 teams are very much in one half of things compared to everyone else.
Yeah, definitely. They are so close together. You know, the top 4 teams, the consecutive times of all of their pilots added together, they're only 2 seconds apart. You know, those
it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, they're so close. We really have the best pilots in the world. It's going to be super interesting how this is going to play out today. I know that the pilots really love the track.
Yes, they do. So Next Blades Racing will race Spain Drone Team after they are respectively 1st and 8th in qualifying. Then DMM Raiden Racing from Japan will take on the Germans. Our Czech Republic and leaders for the season, Rotorama, will race the Swiss Black Kites. And then the American Quad Force 1 will take on the China Dragons in our final quarter-final. Then semis, then finals, and altogether a great evening of racing live to you with the DCL from Brussels. Should we get on with it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's welcome to the stage the reigning world champions and best in qualifying today. From the UK, they are Next Blades Racing. Please welcome to the stage, Next Blades Racing! Timothy Trowbridge on the left of your picture there, having joined them for our races in Scimitar. He's back with them again alongside Gary Kent, Brett Collis, and Luke Bannister is back with us as well. Exciting to see what he can do. We know him well from last year and the whole world of drone racing, of course. Their opponents, a wildcard team from earlier on in the season, joining us again. They are Spain Drone Team. We welcome back, after such excitement that they gave us in Madrid, Spain Drone Team. Abel Herrera Castello is here with Carlos J. Gómez Carril, Arturo Dinera Rivera, and Adrian Lopez Hernandez. They're three of the pilots who joined us in the bullring Plaza de Toros de los Vences in Madrid when we raced there a couple of races ago, together with the new pilot in the shape of Abel Herrera Castello, who's joining us for the first time. Dracodron, you might know him. So yeah, we were in a bullring. And yeah, before that, we were in an Olympic Park in Munich earlier on this year. And after that, we were in the Great Wall of China, as we mentioned earlier on. And now the Mont has us back again. And just about to start some racing. Timothy Trowbridge will go in the first single heat. Remember, we'll do 4 single heats, 1-on-1, before the big heat where everyone will fly. Timothy Trowbridge will go first for Next Blades Racing after he was slowest in qualifying today. A little bit unusual compared to his performances last season. 22nd out of everybody here today. He's going to go up against Abel Herrera Castello, the Spanish drone team. They did have a sort of a slow set of performances coming in 27th, 8th, 29th and 32nd in qualifying. There's our starting blocks. You can see we have a high start here over the Mont. They start on a raised platform and fly out over the garden, and we're going to get it underway now. It is Next Blades Racing, reigning world champions from the UK in dark blue. Spain drone team will be in white. There they are on our stage. Goggles on, and we fly with Trowbridge against Herrera. And Trowbridge with a pretty decent start over Herrera, but not one of the fastest reaction times we've ever seen, but it's early in the day. There's the first view of our course. They go around that far pylon and then back through the Ibis gates, through the DCL and head towards the gallery. This is a very tight section, 2.5 meters wide at its narrowest point. And we're on board with Trowbridge. He comes out of that through a sky gate. First time we've had one of those in the DCL and around this 1.5 turn corkscrew before you come out of that, fly over the fountains and start back on lap 2. As he does and flies through the brightening gate in a time of 39.79, goes around that far pylon again. Herrera Castello is down. Trowbridge will get some valuable stick time and he'll carry on into the second lap as he flies over the crash gate. Gives us our first view today of flying through that gallery. Then you turn right around this pylon, hard back around left on that pylon, and then there's the sky gate, which I think Timothy may have missed. No, actually, probably got through that all right, but it doesn't matter because the point will be his anyway as he comes back around, finishes it through the brightening gates, and then goes round that pylon. Will come back to the Ibis gate and find his way to the Red Bull crash gate to complete his 2 and a bit laps. We do 2 and a bit. Find your way in, Timothy. It's over there. In he goes, and the first time into the crash gate of anybody today here in Brussels, and the first point on the board is Next Blades. Warm applause from his opponent, Abel Herrera Castello, who found himself in difficulties about halfway through.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this was pretty much a walk in the park for Trowbridge. Abel, he wasn't able to make it to the finish.
Oh, you did. There he goes.
Did I? Yeah, this was actually the first corner of Abel. So really struggling to make it through the Breitling gate, and here, yeah, after the corkscrew hitting the bottom of the gate. Unfortunate, but yeah, also in qualification, Abel Castillo, he wasn't able to make finish one of his qualifiers.
10 seconds countdown.
That's tough. Going into qualifying and not being able to finish a lap can't give you a lot of confidence when it comes to doing it in a racing situation. That man is Carlos J. Homescaril. He's up against Gary Kent from Next Blades. Gary slightly faster away from the blocks. Not much in reaction times, but a much steeper attack. Looked like he was going to leave Homescaril behind. He said, I think he will do, as Homescaril is down on the first turn at the brightening gate. We're on board with Gary Kent as he flies up towards the gallery, turns into next with the race all to himself. If Homescaril can get his drone back up in the air, then he is able to continue. And if he can't, then Gary Kent's already got the point secured and he doesn't fancy a second lap. He's already going to get that one home, having been told by his teammates that he's got the race to himself and the points.
Yep. So these pilots, they are really talking to each other. They have good communication within the team. So the pilots sitting next to each other, they actually call what's happening. So in this case, Gary heard from his teammates, Mr. Caril has crashed, and then the pressure is off.
Oh, is that a mid-air?
It seemed like a mid-air.
There we see on this wider angle. Oh, I don't know.
No, I don't know.
Bit tricky to tell from that one. If it is a mid-air, it's completely legal.
Yeah, it happens.
Unless anybody intentionally causes it, but that is so unlikely, and not only unlikely like to actually try and do and pull off, but also these pilots, way too much respect, way too many professionals here for anybody to try and intentionally do something like that. And usually, you know, if you try and cause any kind of mid-air, then you might well come out badly out of that and give the race to your opponent. Brett Collis will be up next. Of the 14 single heats he's raced in this season so far, he's won 12 of them. That may be the best ratio for performances that I think anybody's got. There's a couple of other pilots who are having excellent seasons as well, but 12 out of 14 for him. He's up against Arturo Dinero Rivera, third in the Chess National Open of Valencia. 21-year-old pilot who you might know as Arthur FPV. He's up in the air as a slow start from both of them. Times more like half a second. And in the lead over Collis as they gingerly find their way into that brightening gate. Perhaps even seen a couple of pilots getting some problems there. Both playing it a little bit safer. This looked a little bit slow between Collis and Dinero Rivera. In the gallery they go, and we'll see on board. Rivera's got Brett Collis in his sights and passes him. He comes to the sky gate, and Collis exits the sky gate in front of him. And I think it's claimed Dinero Rivera leading Collis. No, he's still in the air. Collis is now on his second lap, and Dinero Rivera has found his way back through the corkscrew. Had to complete it through some way behind now as Collis exits the Ibis gate with over 5 seconds between him and his opponent. Into the gallery and out the other side. At speed, his teammates on stage can tell him he's got 5 seconds here. He'll be aware of the situation, but he won't have much experience against racing Dinero Rivera, as we've only had him once in our season before. So, you can't play it entirely safely, but the gap's now pretty massive. As you can see, Dinero Rivera is still in the air. Brett will go through the Ibis gate. DCL, bring it around to the crash gate. You'll have to put it in there in case his opponent doesn't. He doesn't. Dinero Rivera is floating through the Ibis gate right now, and we're completing his final turn. Swinging it a little bit here into problems. That's a fountain. You don't want to land it in there. It is netted, but nevertheless, still don't want to try and tweak how deep that net will go. There he is. He's in. That is a finishing point for the Spain drone team, but not enough of what they needed. Brett gets it 3. 15.5 seconds between the two of them.
Yeah, well, actually, this is where we see the level of pilots getting closer and closer together. Actually, the first lap, they were flying side by side. Maybe we can even see, yeah, that's where we see Brett Collis in view.
Yeah, that's. Well, I thought he was done there.
Yeah, Rivera lining up on the right side of the gravity gate, clipping it, but yeah, he was still in the air. And this is where we see a little bit of a sketchy finish, but eventually he made his way to the crash gate.
By no means the only sketchy finish we've had this season. We've had some crawls to that crash gate.
Oh yeah,
we put some holes in that crash gate. Arturo loses that one to Brett Collis. So our 4th single heat, we go in terms of speed in qualifying. So fastest in qualifying for Next Blades, Luke Bannister, who was actually fastest out of all of our pilots, all 32 of them. And he's up against Adrian Lopez Hernandez, who will be in white. And has the better start. 10th of a second over Luke Bannister, but that won't worry him because Bannister's already passed him and is away. Brightening gate around the pylon, heads back towards Ibis. And perhaps having seen this team perform earlier on in the season and over qualifying here, Luke will know Not too much of a challenge when he was first in qualifying himself. He's round the corkscrew here and out through the Brussels gates. And that's where you head back towards the Brighton gate across the full length of the Mont Arts. And that's the second lap beginning there and flying a different 35 seconds. Luke will come down through the Iris quite steeply. You can't go above a certain height here or you will get disqualified for safety reasons. Round the pylon and heads back towards our gravity gates, sky gates. What do you like? There's the corkscrew though, 540 degrees, 1.5 turns around that. Heads back for his second time through the Breitling gate, and his final lap is sounded by the bell. You do a sharp turn here. You can split S it, you can turn around it, you can do it how you want. But Luke, you haven't got all day because Lopez Hernandez is still in the air. He quite often does that. He quite often needs a little bit of an extra 360 before he brings it home. Lopez Hernandez looked like he was going to drift it in at speed. Instead, it's clean, it's in, and it's 4, however, for their opposition in the shape of next blades.
Yeah, I'm so excited that Luke is back because he's such a talented young pilot, and I actually saw him like really grow up over the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
Yeah, and him taking home the fastest qualifying time now out of everyone, super exciting.
And that's a really good step for him because I was saying when we had him with us before that he's had a lot of time out, he's studying,
Definitely,
he's done the right thing in taking that time out to complete his studies, but it obviously affects his performance. When he was with us in Madrid, he was 14th in qualifying one day and 30th the other day, so it's really good to see him top of the table, as you say. Here's the action that we've seen them from our first 4 single heats of the evening.
This is where we launch and go towards the first Breitling gate. The gallery is just such a tricky part to fly. It's super tight, especially coming into it. So the pilots really have to line up their quads properly in order to exit it at full speed as well.
Carlos Hometh Carril in his second heat against Gary Kent. Gary just spinning it around. And that's the view of Hometh Carril after his drone was down for a while. Gary's had a bit of a mixed experience recently with the DCL. He was very unhappy about the teams. He was really unhappy. Gary's much more relaxed today. He's feeling much better about things. Feels like their preparation for this has gone much more smoothly, although they had a decent lineup and turned up at Scimitar hoping to do well, but it just didn't come together for them with some technical failures. Adrian Lopez Hernandez, that's his view over the Mont as you leave our starting blocks. With a big fountain looming underneath that. Some of these pilots who were with us in the 2017 season will remember with disdain. There's our beautiful corkscrew. And then into the gallery. And here's Luke Bannister coming in. So single heats all done, leaves it as 4-0 for Next Blades Racing. And the finisher points, as you can see there, are 11-7. They are in case we get a draw between heat points. So if Spain Drone Team come in first, second, third, and fourth in this big heat, then it'll be 4-all on heat points, and we'll look at the finisher points to work out who goes through. And those are based on qualifying as well as racing. So as you can see, the laps that they got in our 4 qualifying sessions earlier today, they do help. As well as it is worth bringing a drone to a crash gate earlier on because the finish points go in there. It looked like one drone for Spain Drone Team took a complete nosedive towards that fountain off of the start block. I think it was Herrera Costellos. And Trowbridge, Kent and Bannister with Collis are the blue ones for Next Blades Racing up front. As your first look at a big heat here there. 8 drones in the air over the Mont. 3 blue ones up front. Bannister seems to be in the mix. Yeah, it's all 1, 2, 3, 4 coming out of the sky gate and heading back towards Brussels. They'll go around there and start their second lap. Herrera Costello doesn't look like he's going to feature in this. Ahmed Carril has come down as well. Dinero Rivera and Lopez Hernandez for Spain drone team. Want to put in a bit of a performance here. They didn't have a great show of it in Madrid. Didn't get to see a lot of action from them, and funnily enough, one of the races in Madrid, they lost their quarterfinal to this team, 5-0. All 4 single heats and 1 big heat, and now it looks like they may even go out of this in a very, very unusual to see 8-0. 4 points from the single heats, and all 4 of Next Blade's drones are enjoying themselves. Luke Bannister's home first. Kent, Collis and Trobridgeman. Bannister's missed it. Collis is in instead. Kent behind him. Collis will get the first heat point for that. Kent will get second. Bannister has recovered it and possibly come in third. Trowbridge. Rivera's bounced it. Arturo Dinero Rivera may get that drone back up in the air. I'm not sure if it went in and bounced out. There it is. So a few crashes there. It looks like at least 2, if not 3 points for Next Blades. It's definitely a semi-finals, and we'll say goodbye to the Spain drone team, at least for today.
Yeah, so one thing that they didn't change, so obviously they built a completely new track compared to last year when I was a pilot here. But one thing they did not change is the position of the crash gate. And as I remember, it's so difficult for the pilots to actually hit it, because that last corner is pretty much completely blind corner. And they only see the crash gate at the very last moment. So that's why we see a couple of pilots in the big heat not making it into the gate, but hitting the gate on the side, and that does not count as a finish.
So I've got Luke Bannister with us from Next Blades Racing. That's our track, as you can see. Luke, you've enjoyed this one. First in qualifying and taking your team through to the semi-finals.
Yeah, I've really loved this track. It's taking me a while to get back into drone flying. I've taken a break, but I'm feeling really good.
Getting first in qualifying here, I'm glad you said it made you feel good, because you were with us back in Madrid in that bull ring that we did in Leventus, and it didn't go quite so well for you there. What's happened for you between then and now?
Yeah, I've been super busy with events and all that stuff, and finally it's just started coming back, and I'm starting to click with the quads and feeling really good about the setup.
And you like the track?
Yeah, the track is amazing. I'm really enjoying it.
4 out of 4 in single heats for Next Blades Racing, and then a really good performance in the big heat. Everything going really, really well. Are you confident as a team that everything is going to be ready to give you your best performance?
Everyone's doing really good, flying super smooth, really controlled, and being consistent, and that's what we want.
Next Blades Racing with Luke Bannister through to the semi-finals. Congratulations.
That was a very interesting race. Next Blades, the fastest qualifying team of the day. Yeah, they made it look easy, really. They made it look easy. But these pilots are top-notch level. The track record these guys have is longer than my resume. I can tell you that.
So that's our first semi-finalist. Let's find out who they're going to race against by welcoming to the stage, 4th in qualifying today, DMM Raiden Racing. They are now DMM Raiden Racing. We welcome a team of young pilots. And as Axel Mario Christopher Lenkong said earlier, one who is old but still good. That was his words.
That was so funny.
That was his words, and he's the best pilot in the whole of Indonesia, so I can't argue with Axel Mario Christopher Lenkong. The good, slightly older pilot is right there. That's Junichi Goto. I mean, that's what you get when you race a team alongside a 13, 17 and 14-year-old. So they are DMM Raiden Racing, and their opponents are the Air Carvers Germany. coming onto our stage. Sebastian Brandes, Lucas Wahl, Maite Malbohm, and Bastian Hackel, who are the Air Carvers Germany. Now this is a bit of an interesting matchup because on the one side, the Japanese team, who will be racing in yellow, are DMM Raiden Racing, who are 4th in our season on 770 points, 230 points, no sorry, I beg your pardon, 330 points behind the next team, who are Next Blades. On the other side, Air Carvers Germany, who have had a stinker of a season. Sorry to say it for the green team, but they know it. They've had 2 5th places in 6 races, and that is why they are bottom of our leaderboard with 160 points. They are done for this season, and a couple of the pilots I know I think are perhaps going to be feeling like this might be the end of them professional racing. I've chatted to a few of them. They're not happy with how they're performing, what's going on with themselves. Nobody's really blaming anybody else. But we'd love to see some good action from Air Carvers Germany and see them in a semi-final. They've gone out of every quarter-final they've been in and managed to pick up 5th place as a result in 2 of the races, 6th, 7th or 8th in the others. To start the charge towards the semi-final, Sebastian Brandes is going to go first in green against the yellow drone, which will be Takumi Suzuki for DMM Raiden Racing. As you can see, there's our starting blocks, now going to be in green and yellow, so Air Carvers Germany will be taking off on the left-hand side as we're looking at that.
10 seconds countdown.
Takumi Suzuki for DMM Raiden Racing, the yellow on the opposite side. And away they go as the wind starts to pick up a little bit stronger here in the Mont. Green's Air Carvers Germany with a half a second lead over Takumi Suzuki, who closes that gap completely as they come up to the Ibis gate. He's still behind him now though, as they make the turn and head into the gallery and they start to flicker through the night sky. The darkness is coming, it's going to be night time before the thing is finished. Out of the sky gate they both go and into the corkscrew. See Suzuki now in the lead and Brandes is getting into, I think he may even have done an extra lap on that corkscrew than he needed to. He seemed to be going around and around and then a bit more around. Out of the Ibis gate with 3 seconds between him now is Takumi Suzuki over Brandes. He'll come into the gallery out of the other end at speed, a few seconds behind the fastest times we've seen there so far. But he is not hanging about the young 13-year-old pilot as he comes out of that sky gate, makes that easy, makes the corkscrew look easy as well. He's back over the Mont through the Breitling gate now in a time of 58.79, and the final turn is his. Brandes is starting to pull it back, but it's a little bit too little too late as Suzuki comes in absolutely fearless. There are many pilots scared of making that final turn. You've already seen a few pilots today go round and around again and try and make it. Suzuki, on the other hand, smashed it in there. The first point is his.
Yeah, this is where Brandes made a big mistake. He ended up on the left side of that pylon where he should have been on the right side.
That's
and
why,
then,
right.
Yeah, and then he decided to actually do a second lap around it.
He did go around an extra time, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, you're absolutely right there.
There he goes again. He loves it up there.
Amazing racing, though.
It is a beautiful garden to fly over and take a look at, and considering that in Belgium it's basically impossible to fly a drone recreationally, thanks for letting us do this, Brussels.
Yeah, this gravity gate...
he must be loving the chance to fly over the Mont.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, actually, this is the first time we have a gravity gate here. And it's confusing for the pilots.
Yeah.
It's the first timer.
Kazumi Asami is 17. Kazuma XPV is how you might know him for Raiden Racing. That man in green is Lucas Wahl, who takes off slightly behind him. Very quick reaction time for Asami, 0.18. As the best we've seen, Wahl though has hit the top of the inside of the Breitling gate and is down, and he's not even trying to recover it. That is a picture we've seen time and time again, Martin. We've seen Lucas Wahl with a big smile on his face, almost resigned to the fact that it's on the floor.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just not happening for him, and it's heartbreaking to see. He was one of our really memorable pilots from our 2017 season. I'm glad to see him taking it in his stride, but it's not the smile of a guy who's playing the heat point.
It's just not coming together for them. Actually, the Air Carvers Germany, they did find a flaw in their technical setup. So what was happening is that the ESCs are the electronic speed regulators for the motors, and they were limiting the amount of power output to the motors because of overheating. Because we really pushed these drones to the limit. They managed to fix that. That's where we see Lucas hitting the top of the Breitling gate. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I've been in that position, and you just feel like you let everyone down. You know, your team, yourself.
10 seconds countdown.
Now we have Junichi Goto, who's won 7 of the 10 single heats he's been in this year, so he's very capable of getting a point here. Maita Maibon, we've had him with a couple of our races for Air Carvers Germany. He's got the Dream Drone up in the air. Did I say Dream Drone? I may have done. The green drone of Maita Maibon is over a second now already in front of Goto. It's a slow start for Junichi Goto. Out of the detail, getting a little bit twitchy, and then he gains some height as he goes into the gallery. He comes out cleanly on the other side, but Goto is now only half a second behind him, and Maibon goes very high out of the sky gate and beautifully. Now those are 2 lovely parts around the corkscrew. They were really nice. Maibon starts his second lap in 25 seconds, and Goto's a little bit behind and going left, right, and down there. He's in trouble, but he's kept it in the air. Maibon comes into the gallery, and the gap's pretty big between him and now exits the other side over those trees. Who gave us a lot of fun last year. If you were joining us for the race last year, let us know in the chat here on YouTube and Facebook. Maibon is still in the air. That looked like he was done and dusted. Goto is still in the air, but there's a little bit more work for him to do. I would expect a fast finish from both of these pilots. Goto has 4 seconds to catch up. No, Maibon's missed the finish. And he's not going to recover it from there. And Goto's well, there you go. Just when you think you've seen it all. Maibon gets it back out of the trees. I have no idea how he managed that. That looked like it was stuck there for days. Goto did something we've seen before. He missed the finish, and nevertheless looked like he might have been a closer one for the final. Oh, that Breitling gate's taking a beating there.
Man, that was a big struggle through the Breitling gate.
Well, that's why Goto went so far up there. We saw him hitting it so high. Maibon,
yeah, clipping the top of the Red Bull crash gate.
But how did he get it out of that? I'm amazed he got it out of that tree.
I think it's a combination of luck and skill.
Isn't everything? Absolutely everything. So Junichi Goto nearly took that point from him. All he had to do was get it into the crash gate. And that's reminiscent of a few times of a few pilots, including him, missing the final bit. Bastian Hackl will take on Axel Mario Christopher Lenkong.
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting race. We have Axel Lenkong is the 4th overall pilot in qualification. Bastian Hackl is the 6th overall pilot out of all 32 pilots. So these guys can race.
Yeah, and we know they can. Bastian Hackl, who joined us as a wild card in our 2017 season when we did our finals of the season in Berlin. Came and joined us there and made such a good performance on the wildcard team that Air Carvers Germany picked him up for their main squad. Axel Mario Christopher Lenkong, I told you he's the best pilot in Indonesia, and I also told you he was only 14, and both of those things are true. From the back of our starting blocks they go. Lenkong with a better start, half a second between him and Hackl. We've had interesting chats with pilots recently about their sort of attitudes and their tactics towards starting races. Who likes to hit it aggressively from the front? Who likes to keep out of danger? We'll show you a little bit more of that later. That drone is spinning in ways it's not meant to do. Hackl's in the lead. Lenkong is out of the gallery behind him though. We've got a race back on here, and Lenkong is one of the best pilots we've got. He takes the lead between the end of the gallery and the corkscrew and is back ahead of Hackl. His teammates on stage may well have said to him, oh, Lenkong's crashed, and then had to take that back very quickly. Hackl has Lenkong in front of him as they come towards the gallery. And a little bit of video picture. That's exactly what he's flying with. Remember, that's what we told you. That's what he's got. What you're seeing is exactly what he's seeing. Lenkong, on the other hand, isn't seeing anything anymore. He is done here. And Bastian Hackl will complete his second lap and then do this little bit extra he has to do. He's already got the point. He doesn't have to do this. After one pilot is completely out of a race, then the point is already yours. That DCL gate, Martijn, before the crash gate. A lot of pilots sort of throwing it through there and almost having to like recover it on the other side. That DCL final gate looks difficult. Yeah, let's take a look at it. This is where Lenkong actually lost video for a second. And I think what he did here is disarm his quad. So he was not trusting the copter anymore. He did not have a clear video, so he decided to disarm it. And that means stop the propellers and drop the quad out of the sky, because safety first. That's the right thing to do. Definitely. That's a really professional 14-year-old right there. A lot of pilots might just decide just to sort of slam it and keep it in the air, but we have a height limit. Go beyond that. Yellow cards, red cards, they're all things you do not want to get. That DCL gate, that's so cleanly done by Takumi Suzuki. That was beautiful. Brilliant. Absolutely beautiful finish. I think that's the best finish I've seen from all day and practice yesterday. And at speed, remember, compared to some of the slow ones we've seen. Val again with a camera full of lights. And then Grass. Bit of relief on Kazuma Asami's face. Junichi Goto. Oh, Junichi. In crash gates. I'm teasing him. He can take it. I'm not teasing him any more than his team did in Simitai. Could have stolen that point, though, from Maita Maibon there. That was, he left the door open for him, but then Maita Maibon still managed to get it out of that tree.
This is where we see a beautiful start from Axel Lenkong. Super fast. The far straight, I think it's like 60 to 80 meters. It takes maybe 2 seconds to get there. These drones accelerate so fast. I think they hit top speed at like 1 second or something, and that's 0 to 150 kilometers an hour.
That is amazing, isn't it? We had fast ones last year, they're even better this year. And here comes one of those challenges we like so much. It's 2-all in heat points going into our big heat. So winner takes all. It's as simple as that. No bonus points necessary. Whoever comes in first in our big heat in front of our wonderful audience here on the Monte Arts, whoever comes in first will get in a semi-final. If it's a green drone, they had better leap out of those seats like they're propelled by quads themselves, because I want to see Air Carvers Germany enjoy the fact that they're into a semi-final, but they've got to get there first. And it is Raiden Racing who are a steep challenge. Remember, 2 of those races won by Raiden Racing. The third one, Maita Maibon won it, nearly gave it to Junichi, won it after all. And then that last one, Lenkong was behind for Raiden, recovered it, took the lead again, got into trouble, crashed it, was done. No, beg your pardon, didn't crash it and was out, as you say, disarmed it, the right thing to do. I mustn't call that a crash. That was the right thing to do, but because he had crashed it already. So, feels a little bit like the 2 points were partly earned. Maybe one of them was going to be a tougher challenge for Bastian Hackl than it looks. Here we go, all 8 drones hit the air. Yes, they do. Bit of a worry about the widest one for Air Carvers Germany there, but it's Lenkong and Asami taking the lead through the Breitling gates, and everybody twitches and flies and clusters around the Ibis gates and comes into the gallery. How many are going to make it out of the other side? Well, it's the yellow one in the front. Looks like there's a green one not far behind him, though. It could be Lenkong up front. That wouldn't be a surprise. Out of the sky gate we go. And around the corkscrew. 1, 2, 3, 4 drones all mixing it up in there. It is Axel Lenkong in the fastest time, and it is Sebastian Brandes, who's now 2 seconds behind him, though. Lenkong has got such a brilliant speed, and look, he's not scared of that gallery, which crashed him earlier on. Absolutely no problem for him on this quad that he's got. He's going around that corkscrew, not hanging around. And Maibon, possibly now the closest pilot for Air Carvers Germany, is apparently 7 seconds behind him. Lenkong is blistering around this course. Is he going to do an incredible finish? Yes, he is. That is unbelievable. 54 seconds from start to finish. Meanwhile, 3 of the green drones have all crashed behind him, and eventually, 9 seconds later, Maita Maibon comes in. Good finish for him. But that is devastating speed from the young Japanese and Indonesian pilots. And Raiden Racing will go in a semi-final, and will lose Air Carvers Germany again.
Absolutely amazing racing from Axel Lenkong. Actually, we get a protest filed here.
Now that's Maita Maibon for Air Carvers Germany.
Yeah.
And so Lucas is holding his flag too. It might be that Maita was getting the attention, or are they both protesting? I don't think we've ever had 2 pilots protest in one race.
No, so what happens here is that each pilot has one of these flags behind them, and when they flag something up, it means there's something wrong on their receiving side. So that could be 2 things: the video feed. It could also be the connection from the radio that we see Maita Maibon holding here, which enables him to control the drone. So one other thing I would like to point out is that Axel Lenkong was racing so fast that if he would have pulled out these laps, the lap times that he did just now in qualification, it would have put him first in qualification today. Super impressive stuff. So the air carvers Germany are not sure what's going on right now. They raised up their protests. What happens then is that the team manager walks up to our chief judge, Lucas Baumann, and has to make a written statement of the problem, and then the problem will get reviewed. This is where we see him, Norbert, in the back. That means that we're probably going to have to wait for the final decision on this big heat. But for now, we see Axel Lankong with this amazingly fast time of 54 seconds.
We have a protest from Team Air Covers for the big heat for technical issues. We checked it and there was no problem, so the rerun will not be granted.
There you have it. That's a tough decision for Air Covers Germany.
So on our stage here with Junichi Goto of Raiden Racing. That was a very exciting race between you and Maite Maibaum. How did you feel as that race was going through?
This was very tight course, and it's very hard to fly. But yeah, I crashed at the single hit, but kids did a good job.
You were behind for a little bit, but then Maite Maibaum looked like he'd parked his drone into one of the trees just next to the gallery above the crash gate. So that race was yours for the taking. What is it about crash gates that you don't like?
I always cannot make that into the crash gate, but yeah, the gate is too small.
It is a real challenge, that Red Bull crash gate. You've got young teammates, though, who I know might give you a little bit of a dig about finishes because they can do it at speed. What have you got to say about your teammates who are so fast?
Yeah, I'm an old man, so yeah, kids growing up so fast, so yeah, just teaching and yeah.
Well, congratulations, amazing racing from Raiden Racing with Junichi Goto.
Thank you.
This is where they're still unsure whether they took it or not. I cannot express enough how impressed I am with this 14-year-old pilot from Indonesia, Axel Lankong. In qualification, you know, pilots have a lot of time and a lot of batteries to make sure that they put in good times, but to actually do it better in a big heat where you have 8 quads flying around you, yeah, it's just, it's super impressive.
Okay, quarterfinal 3 awaits us, and coming onto our stage to fly in reds are the reigning leaders for 2018. They are Rotorama, and they are our season leaders so far after the 6 Drone Prix that we've had. They are Jan Votava, David Svoboda, Jakub Toman and Lucas Lemversky, and their opponents are the Swiss Black Kites. Another team, and if you've joined us throughout 2017 season and the earlier races this year, you'll know well, the Swiss Black Kites in their purple. It's Rafael Stroll, Mirko Sazena, Yannick Glauser joins the team for this race, and Michael Isler standing closest to us there. Who's a real pilot.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He's flying private jets.
I mean, these are all real pilots, but yeah, he flies something a bit bigger than a quad for a living.
Yep, definitely. So, what I did before today, Matt, is I've been taking a look at the most valuable pilots we have this season.
All right.
And I have to tell you, it's no surprise, since they're leading our overall standings. Rotorama is having some very impressive rankings. So they have the #1 ranked pilot this season. So he's racking up the most points out of every pilot we have here.
Okay.
And #1 is David Svoboda. Also, they have Lukas Lamvorski, who's ranked #3 in the overall standings. We have Jakub Toman ranked #4. And we have Jan Votava ranked #10.
Those are on the finisher points.
Those are finisher points, yeah. So these pilots are racking up the most points out of all of them. And by points, I mean they win the most single heats, they win the most big heats.
And they get laps done in qualifying, because those count as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the finisher points are really strong at collecting those, and they are pretty nifty at getting heat points in straight-on races as well, particularly the single heats. So, first race is going to feature Rafael Strahl, that man on the right there, who's a stander. He likes to stand, but nevertheless sort of turns always side on a little bit like that.
10 seconds countdown.
8 single heats for him this season, 2 wins, 4 times he didn't finish. He needs to do a little bit better than that. And he's up against Jan Votava, who's got 6 wins out of 9 and is in the lead for Rotorama. And Strahl's going to make that one easy for him as he's already out of this.
We have a very happy Votava. Actually, both pilots crashed. Rafael Strahl, he crashed into the first bridling gate. Let's take a look at it here. Ending up way wide and then having to oversteer a little bit and clipping the bottom of the bridling gate. As the evening sets here in Brussels.
It's nice, isn't it?
So we have 1 point for Rotorama.
It's nice for them. Rafael Strahl out of that way too soon. So, that man, one of your valuable pilots,
the
definitely. MVPs.
Yeah, he is the MVP. He is.
David Svoboda will take on Mirko Sezena, who's given us great entertainment in racing and helicopter displays at some of our events before as well. He's going to take his turn in the second single heat. It's Rotorama in red, Swiss Black Kites in purple. That's an excellent start by Svoboda, 0.11 of a second. That's the fastest we've had yet. Sezena, I think, just basically took a nosedive off of his starting platform. There's Mirko, there's the man who's finished, and there's Svoboda coming in quickly. Doesn't want to get any extra stick time in, just decides he's going to wrap that one up now.
Yeah, there were some technical issues there, clearly. Sezena wanted to take off from the starting blocks, and his quad was acting up weird. This is where you see it. It was turning to the left. Let's take another look at that.
Here's Sezena,
turning to the left, straight up, and actually he managed to go up after this, but the same problem occurred. He ended up in the netting.
So what happened there? Do you think something not quite assembled right? An issue with maybe one of the props?
Yeah, it looked
Got it
like...
on the wrong way, surely not the wrong way around.
No, there are a lot of things that can go wrong here, but if I had to make a guess, I would say one of the propellers wasn't tightened properly.
Oh, he's going to kick himself if that's the case. Jakub Toman will take on this man, Yannick Glauser, who's only been with us for a couple of races. You might know him as Downwind if you follow your FPV racing.
Yeah, he got that name from his background as flying gliders, so RC gliders.
He joined us at Madrid, second of our stops for the year in Plaza de Torre de Juventus. Amazing location, racing around the inside of a bull ring with the audience in the middle as opposed to where they would normally sit. bit like the inverse of this, really. Normally, the people who are here would sit in that garden, but not today, because that's ours and yours and the pilots. Toman in red, Glauser in purple. Up they go, Glauser with the fastest start. Toman sees him in front of him with a very good turn around that pylon. And then out over the trees, he's got Glauser not far ahead of him and still in front of him. Look like... Oh, now that is a mid-air and the worst place it could happen, to be honest, because both of them were headed towards that last DCL gate on that straight, and as a result are in that fountain. One's in the net. I think the other one is definitely in the water. We had a few go in there last year. We netted it last year.
I think it's in the net and in the water, actually.
Yeah, but no, I think the other one's in it.
Yeah, is it? Yeah.
I thought I saw a bigger impact.
Let's take a look at what happened. Drones next to each other. Jakob Thoman having a lot more speed there. He had an interesting line there, interesting racing line.
Oof, that's entanglement, isn't it?
Yep.
Now, this is very interesting, Martijn.
Super interesting, because what happens now is that our judges are going to measure. This is what you were going to say, aren't you?
Take it, enjoy this. I'm going to love watching this.
Our judges are going to measure which of the quads made it furthest down the track.
Now we have a racing line, that's what the lights on the ground are, but those lights you can see there are actually just Brussels lights to light up this beautiful fountain. That's not our racing line, but they do go very near this fountain. And someone is going to have to work out who has made it furthest along the racing line.
Yeah, so that's
why we see here. If there's a place on the course you don't want to lose a drone, it's there. And if there's a place you want to try and figure it out on, good luck. That one's a challenge.
Yeah, I wonder
that's our race director, Fabian, who's trying to even spot. I mean, it might be quite easy to say, oh, well, there's one much further ahead in that lake. It's a lake now. I've called it a lake now.
Yep. Now they only have to find out which color is which drone.
Oh, that's a challenge too, isn't it? Yeah, because you were going to say this drone is a lot further than that one, but which one is it? Well, as you can see, this race is under review. No surprises there. We do net all the fountains, and that's plural, because that's the biggest one that you're waiting to find out. We're exploring here in front of our crash gate. But there are many more up and down the length of the Mont near the trees as well, so there are nets over all of them. Yeah. Pilots can bring between 3 and 5 drones each. They have to bring between 3 and 5 drones to our drone prix to be ready to race. I suspect while Glauser versus Toman is getting either investigated now, or somebody's finding some way of investigating it with, something to fish those drones out. It's looking like Michael Isler is goggles on and looking ready to fly against Lucas Lindversky, but that will only happen once our runners have left the course for obvious safety reasons. So one drone has been found in the fountain, and the other one is a mystery. So I think what's going to happen now is we're going to carry on with our 4th single heat between Lindversky and Isler, and then we'll probably go into the big heat. And if the single heat between Glauser and Toman is needed to settle things, if that heat point, that single heat point that they fought over, if that can make a difference between these two teams after the big heat, then I guess we will go back fishing. Otherwise, I think it might just have to languish there a little bit longer. On board with Toman, but he loses video, so we can't even see where he came down in the fountain from there.
Maybe we can see it here.
There's not a lot in it, is there?
Not quite, no.
You would think they were both very, very close to each other.
Yeah.
And if you can spot one in that fountain, you can spot 2. Fabian.
Yeah, if I had to take a guess, I would say it's Swiss black guys that made it the furthest.
It did look like Toman's red drone. He lost his video, so we can't see which part of the water he hit, but all we would have seen was a screen full of water anyway. Lucas Baumann, though, he thinks his fishing is over, and he's got an answer for us.
Mid-air collision, the Swiss Black Kites drone got further along the racing line.
There you go then. So it was spotted. And clearly a little bit of distance between them, making that one a little bit easier to tell. And you can work out what colour the LEDs are even when they're off, due to the way that we've got them installed on the drones. So, Swiss Black Kites pull a point back against Rotorama, and now Michael Isler would like to do the same. He has Lucas Lindversky to contend with. He's got 10 wins out of 14, like David Svoboda has. They've got really, really strong single heat performance, Rotorama. It's where they've cleared up a lot of points this season. Look, there's one on the net. Still, that's heartbreaking for a pilot, Martijn. You'd hate to see that, wouldn't you? That is partly in and partly out of the water, even in a net.
Yeah, but surprisingly, it won't be the first time that a drone like that actually survives.
True.
Yeah, so...
We raced our first races of the season in Germany when we were at the Olympic Park in Munich over the Olympic Lake, and plenty of drones went in there, plenty of runners went in there to get them back. Most of them are okay. I mean the drones, not the runners. Lenversky has the lead over the purple drone of the Swiss Black Kites and Michael Isler. Up to the gallery they go, and Lenversky is through that. A little bit twitchy towards the end, but after the corridor had narrowed, and out of the lit-up sky gates he comes, and around the corkscrew with Isler still behind him, but not much in it between the two. They'll come towards this second lap. Isler taking a slightly more direct route there. The Breitling gate shows that there's still most of the second between them now, though. Lenversky with a nice sort of semi-split S through the Ibis gate, and the gallery sees him in a straighter line, a faster route for him. Isler's pulled a tenth of a second back, but he's going to need to pull many more tenths. The sky gate looks like he has done. The corkscrew, very, very tight for Isler. Lenversky around it with speed. Isler around it very narrowly. And Isler, the time now a lot shorter between them. It could all come down to the death. It could all come down to the crash gate. Lenversky is decides that that crash gate is his. Isler, very close to him at the finish.
Very tight finish.
So yeah, a race that both pilots can be proud of there. A really enjoyable one from start to finish, but the point goes to Rotaramas, which leaves Swiss Black Kites with a little bit of work to do in the big heat. It won't be one of those winner-takes-all situations. It'll be where they need to come in first and second consecutively to tie it on 3 all, and then finisher points will come into it. But what he'd quite like is 3 purple drones coming first, second and third, and just wrap that thing up 4-3.
Yeah, this is where Michael Isler really cut the corner and got a lot of distance back. Beautifully done. And what happens here, that's interesting, because this was near the final end of the race. And what happens then is that the battery voltage of these drones, what we call it sags. So that means it drops way low. And actually, Michael Isler was about to punch out, and punching out means hit full throttle. But the drone couldn't do it anymore, so he actually had to tilt his copter back to make sure that the squad didn't just crash into the ground there.
Yeah, they were celebrating a point there that they're more pleased about. Dave Svoboda finished that one.
Amazing.
Just about.
Finish.
Ooh. We should get a little speed trap on our crash gate. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Can you go make one? Go sort that out. Just get a stopwatch and just time it as they, go through. Yannick Lauser, that's not the thing you want to see. It's nice that he's got a picture of all of the colours of our teams, but that's not really what he intended, is it? Yannick, be disappointed with that after having not many opportunities to race in the DCL. Michael Isler, that's his view off the start, as Lucas Lenversky pulled away from him, but never got entirely away. And Lucas is one of our calmer, cleaner pilots for sure. But on board with Lucas there, he would have been, I think, slightly scared to see that Michael Isler was in his periphery. Maybe that's partly why he didn't hang around at the end.
Absolutely beautiful finish. You can just feel it almost. Looking at him like, oh, did I get that? Yes, I got it.
Grit your teeth and put that one into a Red Bull crash gate and take 3-1. So you're in the driving seat. Now here's where we need to talk tactics. So we've discovered something very interesting about Rotorama since we were flying a few weeks ago on the Great Wall of China. They don't try and win big heats. No. They like to go into them in the lead, which they almost always are due to their single heat performance.
Yep.
But then when it comes to big heats, they just want to stop the other team getting all the points they need. So here, Swiss Black Kites have to come in at least first and second to tie it up on heat points.
Yep.
So Rotorama, the question is, do they want to try and get second, or will they just disrupt around third, hoping that something goes wrong up front? And if the purple Swiss Black Kites team manage to get first and second, then on finisher points, as you can see here, they probably don't have enough to make it happen anyway.
No, exactly. Generally speaking, their team is super strategic. So I would say they will never push for first place here.
Yeah.
They won't even push for second, I would say, because based on finisher points, I think
probably okay.
Yeah, they're probably okay. And I'm 100% sure that they are very aware of what they have to do here and won't take any unnecessary risks.
Now the Swiss Black Kites are possibly without a drone for this big heat. We'll get confirmation of whether 3 or 4 of the pilots. It is looking like Rafael Strahl is ready. Just to the left of your picture, Mirko Cezena doesn't have his goggles on yet. Strahl does always seem to get his goggles on really early. He seems to like being completely, submerged in his zone, ready to go. But I think drones-wise, I'm hearing that Swiss Black Kites are going to be able to field all 4, and they're going to want to. Because remember, they're looking for 2 to bring this to a tie on heat points, although we don't think finisher points could go well enough in their favour. I mean, if only their pilots finish, they'll pick up 4 more finisher points here. If you come in 8th, but you actually make it to the end, then a finisher point is yours. So they're worth grabbing, but it is out of their hands being 14-9 on finisher points. So first, second, and third. That's what the purple ones need to do for the Swiss Black Kites to make it to a semi-final, and they've not had a lot of those. They did make it in both of our drone prix in Madrid. They did make it to the semi-finals, and that is where they lost to Rotorama. Rotorama and Swiss Black Kites, they've only met once this season, and that was that semi-final. So, here we go for our big heat. And the red and purple drones fill the sky over Brussels, and it is very, very tight up front. Only 700ths of a second between Cezena and Lemversky. And now it's looking like 2 red ones as though Rotorama decide, actually, we'll just grab this one if you don't mind. Lemversky would like to do it. Out of the sky gate he goes. The Amstraf's again, just with that one inclined. Toman's with him, Svoboda's not, however, and Glauser and Isler are coming around behind them. Some distance between them, Lemversky with over a second between him and his nearest teammate, and then another second for Glauser, another second for Isler, not including some little 2 decimal places. Lemversky out of the gallery nicely, out of the sky gates aggressively, wide though on the corkscrew there, but nobody's close to trouble him. Toman certainly won't be putting up a race with him to try and get the point to his own record. I know the pilots do keep track, and as we do, of who's got the most single heat points. We awarded Pilot of the Year last year to the one who claimed the most first places for their team. Lemversky puts another one to his name. Swiss Black Kites will get a 3rd place here for Isler, but you don't get a heat point for that. Instead, Rotorama have picked up 2 more for coming in 1st and 2nd, and they picked up yet another semi-finals place, and the Swiss Black Kites go out.
Yeah, let's take a look. Oh, the swarm of drones. Actually, Michael Isler having a very, very bad mid-air collision there, but it didn't take him out. He was still able to finish 3rd here. But that wasn't enough. I think I was completely wrong, actually, Matt. I said Rotorama wouldn't push for first place, but they did. Actually, they took 1st and 2nd place. So that's nice. Our season leader making their way into the semi-finals. Meanwhile, they're still trying to untangle the drones here in the netting.
Three quarterfinals down. Oh, there's people lowering themselves down towards that fountain. Oh, well, while they're doing that, let's bring some more pilots onto our stage. Just make them loud and American. Now, they won't mind me calling them loud and American. It's not a stereotype. As you can see, they're proud of their stars and stripes, and they are loud. They are Quad Force 1, and they are bringing us a lot of excitement here in our season. We're thrilled to have them with us. They are second in qualifying today, and they are, if you haven't already met them from earlier races, Jonathan Templeton, who joined us in Scimitar, along with Alex Campbell, Evan Turner, and Andy Marakillian. Their opposition are the new China Dragons. They come onto our stage, a couple of faces you will be surprised to see from 2017, and a couple of new pilots to the name of China Dragons. We welcome Hing Kin Yu, along with that man, Ka Kei Leung, who raced with us in Scimitar as part of Team Hellhounds, and then they're joined by Andre Krasny and Vince Irie, both taking part for China Dragons here due to the terrible problems that the typhoon, as I'm sure you've heard about in the news, has caused over in China. China Dragons were unable to get a couple of their pilots to here in Brussels. We wish them all the best there and hope everything is going well with all the cleanup operation and everything that has happened over in China. Here, Vince Irie and Andre Krasny very much last minute.
Yeah, definitely.
Thrilled to have them back with us as two pilots we knew from 2017. You know them particularly well.
Oh, I do. Yeah. They're both part of my friend's team. We're called Team SQG. We fly together all the time, actually. Yeah, so they're very close friends of mine. Krasny originally from Poland, having an IT job in the Netherlands. That's what brought him here. And yeah, great pilot. Krasny is actually the Dutch champion. And also Vince Irie, also from the Netherlands, representing Aruba.
Yeah, from the Caribbean.
Yep.
I have to look it up.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't mind admitting that when I heard he was from Aruba, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Google. Other search engines are available. Who uses those? So, Hing Kin Yu, brand new to us.
Yeah.
The nickname is Barry.
Some problems.
That's what he
here.
calls himself. He introduces himself to people. He's like, "Hi, I'm Barry."
Some problems here with the video.
Oh, no, Barry.
So no
yeah,
video
you just saw
there.
some static a few seconds ago on screen. Oh, no, that's not what he wants to do. Jonathan Templeton will want to race him. And he's on a starting block. So he was slowest in qualifying today for Quad Force 1. He's not a slow pilot, though. And nobody will forget the racing that he gave us in Scimitar, I'm sure.
So it seems like I'm not that well of a what do you call that? When you lip read someone?
Oh, that's called lip reading.
It is, yeah. Ah, nice. I'm not that good at it, but from the way Lucas Bouwman, our chief judge, was talking to Yu Hing Kin, is that he's not able to fly.
Now
he's not able to
you
fly.
have to have that drone ready to go. Various checks are done before they even come onto our stage. While the last quarterfinals were happening, these drones were all being checked, as they were ages ago at the start of the day before qualifying. He's not going to take part in this. We'll go with Jonathan Templeton, just off the left of your picture, who will maybe not get a bit of stick time. Maybe we'll just go straight for that dive to the crash gate. Let's find out. He is indeed going to just bring it home. Get a little bit of practice on the end. Wow, look at that, in a time of 6.95. There's even people applauding him. Some of the crowd here in Brussels are very easily pleased. JT gets a point for Quad Force 1. That's not what Hing Kin Yu wanted at all. Couldn't get the drone video picture to work. Still looking in his goggles there. Still nothing coming out. We've got all the FPV feeds here, and there's nothing to be seen. So let's move on with China Dragons, and we'll feature that man, Chief of Quad Force 1, Alex Campbell. And he's up against Andre Krasny.
10 seconds countdown.
So crash a lot.
Yeah.
Love that name, love that name.
He earned it, but he doesn't live up to it anymore.
Up and away we go here in Brussels. Krasny extremely high. Not too high, but definitely higher than Campbell, but with a bit more speed. As a result, bringing that down towards the ground, and Campbell's still in the lead now, but Krasny is going to make some racing for him. They'll come into the gallery. Krasny is a little bit behind after all, 2.5 seconds. He was buzzing all over the back of Alex, but somewhere lost quite a lot of time out of the Sky Gate. There's Campbell and around the pylon of the corkscrew, and he's on his way back while Krasny completes his corkscrew. It's going to be more than 2.5 seconds now as Campbell goes down the far end. Oh no, it's too, there you go, nearly 4. Campbell back up towards the gallery a second time. Krasny's so pleased to be back here again. He's really enjoying racing. Vince, another really big character from last year. Going to be great to see what he can do. Campbell, though, is done. And Krasny was a long way behind him, but not completely out of this because he's just passed him. Krasny now is coming back around to complete his second lap. The bell rings to say he's on his final part of it. The Ibis Gate will be his after his long way round. Meanwhile, Alex Campbell is still down in the grass where he was. And China Dragons get a point.
Nice.
That's why you never give up. Never, ever give up.
Really well done by Andre. And especially for him, you know, he came in at a 2-day notice. He was called 2 days before. And actually, he's flying drones that he only got yesterday morning.
Yes.
He managed to do some tweaks, but to be honest, he's not really familiar with the gear he's flying with.
Just too wide for Alex there. We'll see it again on this wide shot.
Yeah, he kept it so close to that pylon, which is actually the right thing to do. That's how you do it, because you can win a lot of time there. But on the end of the corkscrew, he ended up a little bit wide, clipping the side of the DCL gate. So next up, Evan Turner, who was 5th in qualification, against my fellow Dutchman, Vince Irie.
Vince Irie, glad to have him making an appearance in his 2018 season. I remember he's been watching our races. We are, of course, live on YouTube and Facebook with all of our streams. We will again tomorrow when we're live 7 p.m. Central European time with a whole extra set of racing here in Brussels. Vince Irie's been joining in on chat before, wanting to be here. Going, why am I not there?
10 seconds countdown.
Well, here you go, Vince. Make it count. You're up against Evan Turner, 15-year-old pilot for Quad Force 1 who joined us earlier on in the season, but we haven't seen him for a couple of races. Heads up FPV and does not hang around. Vince, a little bit of rotation off of the blocks there. Very low out of the Breitling Gate, but he's still in this thing, about a 1/10 of a second between them. And the Ibis Gate is clean for Turner. Irie looking like he's getting a bit lost. Don't get lost, Vince. We were in a salt mine in Romania last October, underground in Transylvania. Beautiful location called Salina Turda. Well worth finding on our YouTube channel if you want to see some of the action from 150 meters underground. Vince, however, got a bit lost in there. Evan Turner starts his second lap with a big gap between him and Vince now. A split S, that's how you do it, a clean split S. Evan out over the Ibis Gate and into the gallery. Not as fast as perhaps we've seen him fly. His teammates can, of course, watch everything on stage. They can see the track from the stage. They can also see everybody's FPV. So they can see where Vince is and what Vince is up to, as the Breitling Gate is no problem for Evan Turner. And the Ibis Gate, a bit of a wider split S there. Through DCL and... oh, another one of those little kind of 360 drift turns into the crash gate. He's in. Irie's 10 seconds behind is at the Breitling Gate. He'll come through and he's into the crash gate. 8:77 is the time between them, but a yellow card, I think, is also Vince's.
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
Is that a height issue, you think?
Yeah, it's a height issue, definitely, yeah.
Here comes Lucas on our stage. It is, yeah. And Vince I think knew it. So that's Lucas Baumann, our chief judge, giving a yellow card to Vince.
Yeah, he clearly wasn't doing that on purpose. Also, Vince, you know, he's flying a drone that's not familiar to him. And this is where we see him struggle. Entering the gallery, actually had to turn around. Miraculously, he did it.
Yeah, he's gone so high there.
So high there, yeah, and that's what we don't allow. So we have netting all around the track. And yeah, you're not allowed to fly above that.
Yeah,
obviously.
Which is why we were sort of admiring what was done earlier by Axel Mario and Christopher Lenkong for Raiden Racing after he ditched his.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's going to go too high, and he brought it down instead.
10 seconds countdown.
Andy Marakilian.
Third in qualification today, Andy. He did very well.
Very well. He's up against Ka-Ki Leung, who we had with Hellhound in China, who made a big impression. Was a really, really fast pilot. But got a big challenge on his hands in the shape of Andy Marakilian, who is pretty much the best pilot we've got this season. 13 wins out of 16, 8 wins out of 16 big heats as well. He's racked up more points already in the heat wins than anyone managed in the whole of 2017. And we've got 4 more races to go yet, including this Drone Prix today. Andy Marakilian's got this point too, through the Brightening Gate, and we'll stay on board with him as we fly over the trees. They have to go around that pylon there, and then however they wish through the Ibis. That's a high and very long way past the Ibis Gate into a split S, and then through to the gallery he'll go. Flickering behind the walls, it's dark now, as you can tell. The sky looks quite blue there. It's black, I assure you. That's what night looks like in Belgium. But it is dark. And it is beautiful to see drones flying around. 51.36 for Marakilian, and he didn't even look like he was trying that hard.
Now let's take a look at what happened here. Kake Leung entering the gallery on this very steep 90 degree corner he had to take there. You know, the way you should do it is steer in a lot smoother. He really had to take a hard 90 degree corner. And those, yeah, at this speed it's too difficult to do. Clipping the concrete. I hope his drone is okay. Because concrete and drones don't really mix well.
So here's the action we've had of the 4 single heats, which see 3-1 being the score in favour of Quad Force 1. And in terms of finisher points, well, I won't spoil it for you just yet, but let's say that we've got an interesting big heat ahead of us.
Yeah, definitely. And Andre, who managed to keep his cool, even though Alex Campbell was leading the race, he's managed to do well and take that point, which leaves this race to be decided in the big heat. Let's see how Evan Turner does that launch. Beautifully done through the gallery. Clipping the crash gates. There's such a... you know what's funny? I had the chance this afternoon to sit on stage with Quad Force 1. And these guys really have a great team spirit going on. All of them are really helping each other, navigating their way through the track. Telling them, calming them down, you know, telling them that they're doing well. Helping out, saying which corner they have to take tight, where they have to be careful. They're really coaching each other. And that's what this team sport is all about. So Quad Force 1 and China Dragons are up 3-1 now.
And it's 11-10. Told you I wouldn't spoil it until now.
There we have it.
This one's up for grabs. 2 heat points for China Dragons by coming in first and second. We'll tie it all up. But then we'll look at the finisher points, and that will be at least 2 for China Dragons. And however many are gained. So it's very rare, but we might actually have a dead heat on heat points and have to look at the finishers to work it out. Kake Leung is out of this. Alex Campbell maybe out of this, maybe back up in the air. Vince Irie maybe out of this, maybe staying out of this. It's blue up front though, and that is Evan Turner, and Andy Marakilian is not far behind him, but there is a long way before anything else of any colour in the sky over the Mont. There's a lot of blue drones hovering around there though. The light blues of the American Quad Force 1 will be going through to the semi-finals. It's pretty much looking like dead cert now after 3 of China Dragons are down. That's handed it to them. Let's go on board with Evan Turner, who's got some of the worst video issues through the gallery that we've seen from pilots, but no problem there, coming out of the sky gate and around that corkscrew very nicely. It's Turner, Marakilian, Campbell and Templeton. JT, he's still in the air as well. Turner comes in time of 58.72. Marakilian will bring it in and just knock Turner down to the floor. Campbell will hook on with him, and then we'll just smash that one in, says JT.
Yeah, that's 1, 2, 3, and 4.
You don't see it very often, but there it is. 4 out of 4 for one team in the big heat. I'll tell you something you do see quite often, though, and that is Quad Force 1 in a semi-final. And in fact, it was only the first race of the whole season back in the Olympic Park in Munich that they didn't make it to the grand final. They had been in every grand final in the last 5 of the 6 Drone Prix we've had. And that first Drone Prix in the Olympic Park in Munich was because they weren't flying their own drones after they couldn't get them through customs at the airport. And they were flying ones that were lent to them. Right. If they'd had those, they may be far and away up front of this leaderboard and not Rotorama. We'll talk to Evan Turner on our stage and see how he feels about his team Quad Force 1 getting through to the semi-finals. Evan Turner, congratulations. We're pleased to have you back racing with us again, and we'll see you in yet another semi-final. How's that feel?
Matt, I can't hear you.
Evan, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Evan, well done. Another semi-final for Quad Force 1. That must feel good.
Thank you. It felt really good. The team did great.
You guys are used to making it through to grand finals. You guys have been runners-up in quite a few grand finals. What's going to be different today, which means you come away with a big win?
Well, today we're all locked in. We're all locked in on the track, and we're feeling great and confident. So it's going to be tough, and all these teams are out here, but we know what we have to do, and we're looking at the points. So we know that what we have to do to be first and pull ahead in the points.
And you love this course, right? You guys are looking so relaxed everywhere we go, but here in particular, you really like this one.
Yeah, this is a lot like what we fly back home. Lots of very technical sections that we can really show our skill in. And yeah, this is a great course.
Evan, congratulations. Semi-finals are yours. We'll see you again later on.
All right, thank you.
Evan Turner, still only 15 years old. He's still in high school, actually. He was 5th in qualification today, so I can understand the excitement.
Yeah.
Pretty much all of their team are doing very well. Andy Marakilian, 3rd in qualification. So they made their way through to the semi-finals.
So we mentioned earlier on about how some teams have different tactics coming into this than others, and we're talking specifically there about how they start from the block. Some pilots like to get out in front and own it from the start, and some pilots have a little bit of a different thing. What were you like, Martijn? How did you like to be? Keep out of trouble or own it from everywhere?
No, I wanted to go as fast as possible, but actually when I wanted to do that, but most of the time, you know, I wasn't the fastest to get out from the blocks. It's a trick, you know. You have these 3 beeps, and then you have the 4th beep, and then you can go. But my brain somehow doesn't work as fast as some of the other pilots do. And it's really fun that we can see it on stream now.
Yeah, the reaction times.
Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah.
0.11, that's amazing. That's somebody, one of the young pilots did earlier on today. I forget which one, sorry. Yeah, amazing stuff.
Definitely, yeah. But there are actually some strategies, you know. Some pilots like to start slow. So to stay away from the trouble, the others like to launch fast, and yeah, pretty much all of the pilots, they have a certain strategy that they put into it. So yeah.
So we asked them earlier on about different ways to approach tactics in a race, particularly about the start of it. Who likes to go out quick? Who likes to mix things up? And who likes to let some pilots get away from them? Let's hear from them now, and it's really interesting to work out how they tackle these amazing races.
I'm Alex Campbell out of the United States of America representing Quad Force 1, and today we're going to talk about split-second decisions. When we're sitting on the line, there's so many things that could happen. Do we wait for the green light? Do we go off a half a second after the green light? There's such a small margin of time frames between being dead on the light and having a good hole shot to being a little slow on go, and you're half a second behind the pack and you haven't even got to fly yet. My strategy when I attack the takeoff is I want to be the first one off the starting blocks. It's a very risky decision to go as quick as you can. It makes me very likely for jump starts.
So as a single heat, my strategy is to go onto the beep and scare the other opponent.
My starting strategy is to wait until everybody took off, and then I'm taking off in order to avoid media collisions and false starts.
These are our official starting platforms for the 2018 season. They are equipped with proximity sensors sensing the drone, and if they detect an early start, the whole platform starts to flash and the pilot gets disqualified immediately.
The good thing about taking that risk and being the first one off the starting platforms is you're a lot less likely to get mid-aired. Mid-airs is especially when 2 quads hit each other from opposite teams. I mean, we're flying 325 millimeter drones. in a 6 foot by 7 foot gate. It gets very tight with 8 of them going through the same gate.
Mid-air collisions are usually unintentional, so there's no penalty. But if we can prove otherwise, there sure are penalties.
Mid-air collisions are a very important thing in drone racing. It can make or break a drone pilot, in my opinion. There's so much stuff that happens so fast, you know. Imagine being on a racetrack, one LED pulls out in front of you. You have a decision to make. Do you want to go for the pass while you can see him and know where he's at? Do you hold your line and wait till the end of the race to make the pass? Do you risk it and run that risk of having a mid-air collision and you not being able to finish the heat? The most important thing about drone racing is you can't win a heat that you don't finish. I hope you enjoyed our segment. I hope I could take you a little bit into the mind of a drone racer. Thanks for watching and enjoy the race.
So that's super interesting, you know? These pilots all taking on different strategies.
Yeah, thanks to the pilot for the time there. That is really exciting stuff to work out from them, how it works.
Mid-air collisions are a big part, and crashes in general, you know. It's all about flying, crashing, repairing, racing.
So the semi-finals that await us on our first Drone Prix of Brussels for 2018 look like this. Next Blades Racing will take on DMM Raiden Racing, and then Quad Force 1 will race Rotorama. Those are the top 4 teams again in our leaderboards. And we are regularly seeing these 4 teams fighting it out for all the top points available. One of Spain Drone Team Aircraft, Germany, Swiss Black Kites, and China Dragons will be 5th place, and they'll pick up 80 points, and everybody else will get nothing, and that's worked out on finisher points. Next Blades against DMM Raiden Racing will be the first semi-final to look forward to. Let's welcome back to the stage Next Blades Racing coming out for some fun. They are back on our stage, our reigning world champions, Next Blades Racing. And I think, I'm going to say it, out of the 4 teams that are in these semi-finals, Next Blades Racing, out of Rotorama, Quad Force 1 and DMM Raiden Racing, they would have liked Raiden Racing. They've got a good history against them.
Yep.
But on the other hand, it's Rotorama and Quad Force 1 who are ahead of them on our leaderboard. So if you want to get more points off of someone, better wipe them out in the semi-finals. I said one of those is going out in the other semi. Next Blades are here, and here come their Japanese opponents. To our stage, Raiden Racing. DMM Raiden Racing with Takumi Suzuki, Kazuma Asami, Junichi Goto, and ex-America's for Lincoln. So, Next Blades Racing against DMM Raiden Racing. Bit of history between these. Well, they both had some wins. When they met out in on our first races of the year in Munich, Next Blades Racing beat out Raiden, then Raiden beat out Next Blades the day after. So, it's up for grabs, this one. But Next Blades Racing are looking pretty comfortable. Takumi Suzuki looking pretty fearless earlier on. And Timothy Trowbridge is his opponent in the first semi-final. There's Timothy, ready to go. Temple Claws.
10 seconds countdown.
Takuma Suzuki, known as Takumi. Takumi and Temple Claws. Next place racing in dark blue, Raiden Racing. Newly sponsored by DMM in yellow. Suzuki looked like he had the better lead there, but Trowbridge has got it back from him. This is going to be a pretty tight one all the way through, as long as both drones can stay in it. Although the Ibis Gate, terribly slow for Suzuki. Trowbridge is away from him, out of the gallery. There's 0.86 of a second between them now. Trowbridge comes up to the Skygate. Suzuki exits behind him, and then around the corkscrew. I know that young pilot there can do a lot of time in very, very tight turns. He has Trowbridge in front of him as he sees him out of the Breitling Gate. He's still 0.87 seconds. Very, very similar to how it was. The Ibis Gate much better for Suzuki though. The second lap going a little bit better for him. Meanwhile up front, commentator's curse, I'm sorry. I would take the hit, but the drone did that because Trowbridge has got the course all the rest to himself now. It's going to be the first point for Next Blades Racing. Suzuki wasn't gaining too much on him, but was by no means out of that. Timothy's a really clean pilot though, so it'd be unlikely for him to get in trouble. He's just going to skip the rest of it. And he's doing that thing we see him do again and again. Takes a look at the crash gate, takes a look around, takes another look at the crash gate.
Suzuki was actually doing very well catching up with Trowbridge here, almost actually having him mid-air. And yeah, this is where we see it's getting darker. And there are some small trees, or bushes rather, here in the park in Brussels. And I think Suzuki overlooked them.
10 seconds countdown.
And he clipped one, and that was the end of it. So next up, Gary Kent.
Yeah, and Kazuma Asami. And Asami with the lead out of the Breitling Gate. Kent almost a second behind him. It wasn't that much when they started, but Asami is, as we saw earlier on, pretty fearless, pretty aggressive, and pretty damn quick. He's over a second ahead of Kent. But that Skygate went in deep. Hit the furthest point of it, and Kent has this for himself. Can Asami get that back up? Well, Asami is done, as you can see there. So this point is also Next Blades. That'll be 2 for them. That's the real shame after Kazuma Asami gave us really, really fast flying.
Definitely. Yeah, looking at the video we just saw from the pilots having different approaches, well, Gary Kent is one of the pilots who likes to have a slow start. He just likes to see another quad in front of him and catch up with him. But actually, it was quite difficult for him to do so. But then Asami decided to hit the anti-gravity gate.
Decided to hit.
Well, yeah, decided. Yeah, well, it happened.
He just went in really deep. He hit the furthest point of it. It's basically a cube.
Yeah.
It's about 4 meters on its edges, to give you an idea of what they're aiming for. It is the first time that we've had a Skygate, though. It is the first time that we've had a gate you have to fly up and out of, and he went in a bit too deep and hit the furthest point. Junichi Goto has Brett Collis to contend with. Ooh, this is tasty. They haven't met this season yet. Brett Collis having a really good season. 12 wins out of 14 single heats for him, and he was Pilot of the Year last year in terms of the number of single heats and big heats that he won outright. He would like to win that again. He's one of our best pilots so far. Junichi Goto, 7 wins out of 10 for him. Very consistent performer for DMN Raiden Racing. And has the better of the starts. Collis very straight from the blocks, not sort of cutting across the lawns at all. Goto was out in front of him, but he's behind now. As they come up to the gallery and we exit that, we'll find out that the gap now is exactly a second dead. Although Collis is coming down, though he is in a bit of trouble there. I think he lost, maybe, did he lose picture there, Martin?
I think he did, yeah, I think he did. He went through the gallery, and then that's the first time actually we saw this happening. I think he lost connection to his drone.
Goto's flying excellently, given the quality of the video picture that he had there. Goto's picture was bad. Collis's wasn't just bad, but he thinks not his fault, and has waited to protest for it.
Yeah, let's take a look at it here. Coming out of the gallery. Actually, this was the same spot where Axel Lankong had some video problems before.
Now, this is very unusual, actually. We've not seen much of those kind of breakups and recovers and breakups and recovers.
No, if this was a breakup, it was quite terrible, quite severe. Maybe something wrong with a cable. It could also be something wrong with the drone. temporarily lose power to the VTX, the video transmitter.
So, Raiden Racing been in this situation before as they sit on our stage and wait for our review to be worked out. It is 2-1 in favour of Next Plays Racing, so they'll want to get that point theirs. It will be if it is found to be a drone issue for Brett Collis, but if it's found to be a trackside issue, and in other words the drone is checked and everything is okay with that, if it's found to be a trackside issue, then they will get a rerun. The point won't be automatically handed, they'll get to do that again.
Yep.
So right now, our brilliant team, behind the scenes, loads of spotters and runners that we have, they'll be investigating, looking back over the footage. They watch every FPV live. We have one spotter for every single FPV. So they were watching it live to keep an eye on whether they make all the gates. And so far today, actually, we've been pretty clean on that. I don't think anybody's been flagged up for potentially having missed a gate or a pylon. I don't think we've had anybody go off track limits, which is very impressive for the technical course that we've got. But they'll look over the footage, and while they're doing that, Bastian Hackl against Axel Mario Christopher Lenkong will await their turn in the single heats.
Luke Bannister.
I'm sorry, Luke Bannister. Yes, you're right. Bastian Hackl was who Lenkong faced in the quarterfinals.
Yep. Yeah, I'm excited for this next one because as we saw in the quarterfinals, Axel Lenkong going crazy fast. And right now he's doing a single heat against our fastest qualifying pilot, Luke Bannister.
You don't see him looking nervous.
No,
just a
you never really
little
do.
sort of out breathing there, just like, okay. Getting it ready. This is somebody you don't see nervous either. His full name is Axel Mario Christopher Lenkong.
Yeah.
And I don't mind saying all bits of it.
You pronounce that pretty fast.
I'm as fast as him.
Are you?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. I'm the fastest pronouncer of Axel Mario Christopher Lenkong in Indonesia. If you don't know.
I think in the world.
Maybe even in the world. Take that, Axel. Luke Bannister against Axel Mario Christopher Lenkong. And this should be good. Lenkong looking so chilled. Is he even going to pick that controller up? Yes, he is. And he's going to zoom off on a time of 0.16. But Bannister will not let him have that. If this goes the distance, this may be one of the best races you'll ever get to see between two extremely skilled pilots who are both really enjoying themselves on top of their game here in Brussels. This is on board with Bannister. That's a Skygate exit at speed. That's a corkscrew at speed. And Lenkong, did he hit the inside of that? I think he's taken... Oh, no, he's hit, I think, the inside of that turn. Well, it was a good lap. I'd like a second one. Bannister doesn't care for a second one. He's just going to put that in. Oh, look at the relief on him.
Yeah, oh my God. He was like, ooh, that's a tight race.
He looked so relieved to have got that over, but it was long over.
Yeah, this is the disappointment. Yeah, you don't feel well when that happened. And he could have taken him actually. And he knows it. He knows he could have taken this point for his team. Let's take a look at what actually happened here, because it was too fast for me to see. Around the corkscrew, clipping the inside of the gate. Yeah. It's such a tricky turn. This is actually where you make or break a race, especially on this level and this speed and this skill level of these pilots. You just want to glue yourself down around the pylon and through the gate, but not too close.
Takumi Suzuki against Timothy Trowbridge. There's that gallery, which if you joined us last year, we flew through the other way.
We did, yeah.
That was after we'd flown under the trees that were here as well. Poor trees. Poor trees.
Yeah.
Wrapped in bubble wrap, wrapped in white plastic, protected. And drones hitting them still.
Yeah.
So we're not going under the trees this year. But we are still going through the library. We are still going through the gallery. There it is. That's the library, in fact, believe it or not. It's a shock, isn't it, if you're calmly reading a deep scientific tome or something historical. The origins of flight, perhaps. Vroom, goes the drone past the window. I'd be out here watching drone races. Well, I am, to be honest. Oh, so are you. Gary Kent. Always smiley, always enjoying himself. More here than he did in Scimitar, as he was a little bit frustrated by the technical issues that were holding them back.
It's Brett Collis against Junichi Goto.
This goes into a tree that stays there, too. I think it may still be there. Junichi Goto's exit. And that video picture, Martin, that's not good, is it?
No, that's not good. No, it could also actually be camera settings.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
I think because those are the kind of fringing on that is very specific to what he's flying.
Yep, that's true.
Really interesting. There's away, up and away, and ahead of Luke Bannister.
Yeah, also in general, you know, because what we're looking at right now is not. This is obviously a recording of the heat that we just saw, and generally speaking, you lose a little bit of the quality when you record it and then replay it.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, so what the pilots are looking at through their goggles is. Now that is tight.
Now that is 3-1.
Both of them
yes.
have 18 finisher points.
Isn't that good? Yeah. So, Raiden Racing need to get first and second. Because if they get first and second, then they'll tie it on heat points. They'll also get 2 finisher points for doing that.
Yep.
Obviously, 2 of them have got to the finish. So then we're going to see whether any of Next Blades make it round as well, which they almost certainly will, because Next Blades are pretty good at finishing things.
Yep.
It's a big heat. First and second, necessary.
Either I think Luke Bannister's cold. He's shaking. I was like, is he nervous?
Well, it looked
Luke
like
Bannister,
he was earlier. He looked,
is
like
he
he looked
nervous?
so relieved that he'd done it. And he can hear us on stage, can't you, Luke? You nervous?
No, he's not nervous. He's saying no, I think.
He's got his earbuds in, actually.
He's a bit cold.
He's got his buds in. He's not listening to us. Oh, all right, Luke. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Maybe. Maybe I won't. Yeah, hi, Luke. So, hope you're enjoying the racing. We are the Drone Champions League. You can watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/Drone Champions League, and on Facebook. We're always live on both of those, and we're on 100 TV channels around the world with our magazine program, which is very exciting about our previous races. We've made them about our races earlier in the season in Munich, Madrid, and Scimitar at the Great Wall of China. Thanks to everybody who's joining us live right now, whether it be on Facebook or on YouTube. Hope you're enjoying what we've got. We are getting some stuff ready to get it. Somebody's trying to find a drone.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's happening now. So one of the pilots, I think it's Lankong. No, they all sorted it out. They found the drone that was still on the track, which caused video problems. But we're good to go, man.
We will indeed go. It's yellow for Raiden Racing. It's dark blue for Next Blades. And over the Mont, they all fly. And Trowbridge is done there. And another one, I think. And another one. And another one. Ooh, okay, we'll keep stock of that. And we'll look at Axel Maria. Because for Lenkong leading Next Blades Racing into the gallery, he needs another teammate behind him. They're going to need at least 2 of them because it is 3-1. Oh, that's hit the inside of our sky gates. Try to exit it too low. Lenkong's got Bannister for company. 15 hundredths of a second between them. Looks like less than that out of the Ibis gate. They come towards the gallery. And Bannister's past him. Lenkong will probably catch him, although there he is already in front of him. Lenkong is good at suddenly finding a lot more speed to gain on people who've surprised him, but Lenkong's come down as a result of it as well. Bannister might indeed just fly around all of Brussels entirely by himself. This almost never happens. It's just him. Well, at least to finish that, we almost maybe would have had 8 crashes. I don't think we've ever had 8 crashes in a big heat. So we got 7, and we got
Luke Bannister taking. Okay, let's take a look at this crash here. Axel Lenkong.
There it is. So his is the one that. Ooh, I think another one went in there.
That's a very, very hard crash.
That's got some repairing to do.
That's got some repairing to do, definitely. Next Blaze Racing, 4-0 against Raiden Racing. You know what? I have this beautiful screen in front of me, and I can see some stats from the race just now. And what I saw is that we have the fastest lap time of all of the lap times that I've seen today and yesterday is done by Luke Bannister, who managed to do 1 lap in 20.83 seconds. But also, Axel Lankong, right before he crashed, also did a 20.88.
I think it's a 20.65 in Luke's records from his single heat, actually.
Is there?
Yeah, so well done him. Next Blades Racing goes through to another grand final. We'll chat to Gary Kent right now, live on our stage here in Brussels. Gary, I hope you can hear me. Congratulations, another grand final for Next Blades.
Yeah, I can hear you. Thanks very much. Yeah, it's going to be great to be in another final in Brussels. It's a fantastic place. We had such success here last year, and really, really happy to make the finals again.
Yeah, I guess you do have very happy memories from when we were flying over the Mont before. Do you spy another win in your near future?
It could go any way. It's drone racing, you know. We got the best pilots in the world. Anything can happen on the day. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and just try our best and see what happens.
Do you want Rotorama, Gary Kent, or do you want Quad Force One as your competitors for that final?
It doesn't matter who it is. It really doesn't matter who it is. They're both amazing teams, and it doesn't matter who we fly against. It's going to be tough no matter what. So I'm just looking forward to watching the race, because it's going to be absolutely incredible.
If I were you, I would take part in it from time to time as well, Gary. I look forward to watching it as well. Gary, congratulations, Next Blades Racing, another grand final for you.
Thank you very much.
He's planning on kicking back, just enjoying what his teammates can do.
Yeah.
I think we've had that conversation before. I think I've asked him before, who would you like? And I think it was between Rotorama and Quad Force One. He's full of respect for all of the teams.
Definitely. Yeah, and you know, I challenged him to do a little bit of trash talking back in the days, but he just doesn't. He doesn't have it in him. He's
just too nice.
Too nice. Yeah, really.
Oh, bless. Semi-final then to determine who they will face in between the grand final. It could be Rotorama or it could be Quad Force One. We'll bring the Americans out first. They come onto our stage with a Next Blades Racing team awaiting them in the grand final if they get there. But first, a Rotorama team to race the semi-final against. They are Quad Force One. Earbuds in, goggles ready to go. And another team of pilots who are ready to go are the Czech Republic's Rotorama. We've been here before. We've seen them here many times before. Rotorama's 6 Drone Prix this season. They've been in semi-finals in 5 of them. They've been in grand finals in 3 of them. And we're looking forward to seeing what happens between them now against Quad Force One. History between these two teams, well, Quad Force One lost to Rotorama, beat Rotorama in a semi-final in our bull ring in Madrid, and lost to Rotorama in a grand final on the Great Wall of China. So there's a bit of numerical history there, but they've had a few words between them. Martijn, we've enjoyed things get a little heated.
Yep.
And emotions and tempers and passion driving it all. But there's a lot of respect between these two teams. But yeah, when you want to win these things, you want to win these things. And when you are Alex Campbell, he always says coming second is coming last to them.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I can respect that.
I can definitely respect that, yeah. I was always happy with a second or a third place, but yeah, these guys weren't. Actually, it was because I always came in second or third. Yep. Consistent, but just not good enough, you know. So.
Oh no! Look where I got you.
I'm on the right side of the desk now, man.
You're on the more fun side of the desk now. Well, I think that anyway. Okay, so let's have some fun in the air. And we'll do that with Jan Votava and Jonathan Templeton. They'll start things off. Honza and JT. Quad Force 1, light blues drones on the left of the starting blocks as we look at them from the Mont des Arts. Rotoramas on the right. The slowest ones in qualifying are the ones who go in the first single heat, and those are the ones at the front of our starting blocks, on the widest starting blocks. So the ones on the widest positions. We have a sort of inverted V, I guess you might like to call it. So the fastest ones start at the back in the big heat. JT and, well, JV. Very good start from both of those pilots. Votava slightly behind in the blocks, but took him on the Breitling turn. And then the Ibis gate is back in the hands of Jonathan Templeton. Jan Votava still with him though, and I suspect this could be very tight. It's very close between both of them, one above the other in the gallery, and Votava has the lead as they head up to the Sky Gate and is out of that comfortably in the lead now. The corkscrew around both of them. I've seen JT really nail corkscrews in the past though, so he's not letting Votava get too far away from him as they start the second lap, side by side through the Breitling gate. And JT back in the lead of the Ibis, but yeah, Votava's with him, and this is where he caught him before and where he passed him on the first lap, and on the second lap he does exactly the same. It's now 1/5 of a second between them. Votava has the lead over Templeton. Templeton's letting him get away. The Sky Gate clean for both of them. Votava, better job on the corkscrew than he did on the first lap. Templeton, I think, a slower job on that corkscrew. Didn't look like he took it quite as quickly, and he's come out. Breitling sees Votava, Ibis sees Votava, nobody sees any more of Templeton. Votava doing a little bit of a turn before he finds his a little bit of a finish. Jonathan Templeton, it was going well for him. Votava could take him in a couple of places on that course. Whoa, where did it all go wrong?
Yeah, they were so close together.
Yeah.
And you were absolutely right. Votava was faster coming into the gallery, and Templeton was faster outside. Let's take a look at what happened here. Yeah, he managed to not really take that corkscrew corner right the first time, having to correct himself and then clipping the top of the gate, yeah, as we could see. Still, such a good pilot.
Yeah.
He hasn't been in the Quad Force 1 team all season, has he?
Jonathan Templeton, no.
No, he started in China, I think.
Yeah, that was the first time we had him, was when we were out in the Great Wall of China. Seems a long time ago now, doesn't it? It was only a few weeks back.
Yeah, you're right.
Incredible place to go racing.
Seconds countdown.
And he did quite well. He got 3 wins out of 6 single heats in his first 2 Drone Prix. So that was a good start for him for his season with DTL. David Svoboda, Edge SV, Alex Campbell, Chief. This should be a really good contest between both of them. These aren't pilots who would normally be third slowest in their team. Sorry, second slowest. Third slowest. I meant that. That's what I said. I was right. Anyway, you know what I mean. Usually higher up things. 32 and 38 hundredths of a second between them. It was good starting times for both of them. Svoboda comes through the Ibis gate first, and Campbell comes through it a little bit. Difficulties, and in fact, there's our first wrong flight flag of the evening. So our spotters are questioning whether he actually made that turn, whether he made that gate. That'll get reviewed after the race is done. Svoboda has the lead though as we go on to lap 2. Campbell through the Breitling gate, 15 hundredths of a second behind him. Campbell will not give up on this. He may not even know that he's possibly under review for having gone the wrong way. He's in the gallery and he's got brilliant straight line speed. We've seen that from him before. What was half a second between them now sees Campbell in the lead. Svoboda is behind him, and out of this race, if Campbell's going to own it like that, I'm not sure Svoboda's going to catch him. The Breitling gate sees 40 hundredths of a second, 2/5 of a second between Campbell. It's going to be a fight to the death at the crash gate at the end now. Svoboda's past him, coming up to the crash gate. There it is. We've seen that before.
Wow.
Oh, we've seen that before. We've seen a cross Alex Campbell before. We've seen a drone outside of a crash gate before. And we've seen a few of them happen for Quad Force 1. So, whether or not he did miss a gate earlier on, which would have maybe made that finish redundant anyway, it doesn't matter, as Svoboda finishes it and takes the point.
Yeah, let's take a look at that beautiful finish by Svoboda, because actually he made it in, but he was also there first. And he managed to overtake Campbell in the very, very last corner. Crazy stuff.
Never give up, as we said earlier on.
I think that's why Svoboda is MVP now, you know? This is why, yeah, he's just so consistent and managed to make that final push for his team to take that second point. Amazing stuff.
We had this in Simitai at the Great Wall of China. We had amazing finishes there. We had amazing near finishes there. Not ones that pilots would have enjoyed, but I think anybody who was spectating would have loved it. Oh, that is quite something, making all of it happen, except for just those last few centimeters on a course. Evan Turner will try and close the gap on Rotorama's 2-0 lead by trying to beat Jakob Thoman.
Yeah, Evan Turner was number 5 in qualification today, and Jakob Thoman 11th.
Yeah, really strong performances from the teams in these pilots in these sort of top 4 teams that we have. And Thoman and Turner away in exactly 0.3 per second each. But it's all lights out for the red drone of Rotorama, and Evan Turner is swinging his through the Ibis gate over the fountain, doing those little loops. We're seeing a lot of them, Martin. Why do you think we're seeing so many people have that second run at the crash gate?
Well, it's a blind corner, so as the pilots come through the last gate, they cannot really see it. In this case, he already knew that Thoman crashed, so he could take it slow. No risk, just make your way to the crash gate and take that point. I think, actually, let's take another look at it. I think we had a mid-air collision here. Yep, that's where we see the blue right before the crash. Yeah, there you have it. It was just the tip of the blades of the propellers, actually. But that's enough to slow one of the propellers down, and your quad just spirals out of the air. Unfortunate by Jakob Thoman, nothing he could do about it.
Marakilian against Lenversky. Andy Marakilian with his 13 wins out of 16 before we started here today, and Lenversky's 10 out of 14 in single heats. These are both very, very capable pilots. This is a really good matchup. We've had fun between these two. I think... no, we were going to get fun between these two. And then the gods didn't smile in our favour in terms of this matchup happening. I've been wanting to see this matchup. Let's get it on. Lenversky in red, Marakilian ahead of him, 0.05 of a second between them. That's nothing. Marakilian, though, when he's out in the lead, he does rather tend to stay there. So Lenversky's passed him already and takes him out of the Ibis gate and goes up to the gallery in the lead. As you can see, there's not going to be a lot between these two pilots throughout the whole thing. Up out of the Sky Gate they both come. Lenversky still in the lead as they go around the corkscrew. Marakilian will close that gap on him now, though. It was only 0.05 of a second as they left the blocks. It's going to be very little as they make it through there. 0.3 of a second. Oh, I'm not sure, Breitling Gate, whether you've even got that right. Yes, I'm questioning it, because it didn't look like they were going through anything other than side by side. The gallery has a second of Marakilian behind Lenversky now as we look out over the Mont and sees Lenversky take that corkscrew for Rotorama and head back to complete his second lap. Marakilian, though, not all over yet. They go over the trees around the pylon. There's only very, very little in between them now. They are air sharing, but Marakilian's gone way too high out of the Ibis gates. Lenversky takes that turn and takes the heat point. Marakilian came in on one of the tightest finishing angles I've ever seen anyone hit a Red Bull gate in. That was an amazing finish, but it was just a little bit too late for him. I'd love to see that angle from Marakilian.
Yeah, actually what happened before that is that Marakilian struggled here at the Ibis gate, clipping it, as we can see here, turning around, making his way through the DCL gate and then into the Red Bull crash gate.
And backwards.
Miraculously, yeah.
Wow.
That was a super, super tight race. Both pilots literally close, like next to each other. Their FPV feeds, so the signals from their drones looked identical at a certain point.
Next Blades Racing await whichever team win this semi-finals. And our scoring system here is 250 points for winning a Drone Prix, 220 for coming second. So it's only going to be 30 points difference between the two teams who make it in the grand final in terms of what they come out of this first day here in Brussels with. But there are 200 points going to whoever goes third here. That's going to be Raiden Racing or the loser of this semi-final, depending on who's got the most finisher points so far. 150 is what you get for fourth. So with all these teams regularly contesting these top positions, there's not a lot of points between them before we start here, and there's not a lot of points to be gained over your opposition during this. And with Raiden Racing being one of the teams in the semis, Rotorama and Quad Force One would both have loved that to have been next Blades.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, yeah. That's unfortunate, but yeah, the way it's all set up, it's super fair because the way we put the teams in a bracket is that the fastest team will face up with the slowest team in the quarterfinals.
Qualifying, yeah.
Exactly. So
second race is 7th, 3rd, 6th, 4th, 5th, exactly like any sort of sporting bracket you would imagine.
So that's why Next Blades made it through relatively easily because they faced the slowest team.
Yeah, they're on the favoured side of the bracket.
Yeah.
They get the 8th place team out of qualifying, and then they got the 4th.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't the 4th, it would have been the 5th. Feel free to get a pen and paper and draw your own sporting brackets. But we've got one for you, don't worry about it.
Super nice finish by Lemvorsky again. Crazy how he makes that last corner. Really impressed by that.
We're getting a few of these today. 3-1. Teams needing to come in first and second, and in doing so we'll get 2 finisher points. But if Rotorama get any pilots home, they'll get some more. But if Quad Force 1 get any other pilots home, then they'll also get more. Yep. There's your scientific explanation of how this thing is going to work out. We'll just concentrate on the fact that we have 8 tremendous pilots who are going to scrap this big heat out. 3-1 in favour of that red right-hand side of stage team, Rotorama. So it's Quad Force 1 who've got to come in first and second to make this thing get numerical. And it is Rotorama who are at the top of this leaderboard, and there's 70 points between them and Quad Force 1. So Quad Force 1 will have on their minds that they really do need to beat Rotorama here. Otherwise, not only are they coming out of the semi-final stage, but Rotorama will extend their lead away from them. The blue ones are lit, the red ones are getting ready. And Quad Force 1 and Rotorama fly into the air in Brussels for the last big heat of our last semi-final, and it's Jakob Thoman with a small margin of a lead of just over a quarter of a second over Alex Campbell. 4 or 5 drones in the Ibiscay all at the same time, and one into a wall, and it looks like it might have been Jakob Thoman who was up front but has lost it now as Evan Turner is in the lead over Lucas Lemversky. Vitav has gone out of this. Turner's up front. Rotorama look like they've got 3 drones out of this. Lemversky may be the only one keeping them into the grand final, and Campbell has passed him. That could well cost them. If Templeton can get past Lemversky, it's academic. They will go through to the grand finals. Turner and Campbell, they still need to stay up there where they are. We've got a little bit of a camera issue on the Skygate there. A little bit of damage possibly from maybe somebody hitting it. Vitav, Thoman and Svoboda look on as Turner and Templeton are joined by Campbell. Lemversky's lost his position in this. We go 1 point to the Blues, 2, and Lemversky is in. Now that is very exciting, and it's all gone silent here in Brussels because numbers need to get worked out. They got the 2 heat points that they needed to tie it on heat points. They didn't get the 3rd that they needed after Lemversky came back from nowhere. He'd been in the mix throughout that race. He was in 4th for some. I don't know where the 3rd place for him came from. I thought Templeton had that one when he passed him. So it is only 2 heat points for Quad Force 1. That gets them 2 finisher points, which made it equal. I was slightly taking the mick out of this earlier on and being flippant, but it's actually our situation now. They got 2 finisher points, which put them on 20, which is what Rotorama already had. And if Lemversky's 3rd place is confirmed, they'll be equal on heat points, but Lemversky will have picked up 1 more finisher point from that race, and it'll be 21 finisher points to 20. And Rotorama go to the final. I think we are talking to Lucas Lemversky on our stage, and I think we are talking to Rotorama as our grand finalists after the narrowest margin of victory over another team we've ever had. Congratulations, Lucas Lemversky. Rotorama go to the finals. That was very, very tight. It all came down to your 3rd place finish in that big heat, and the finisher point that you got for it is the only thing that separates you and Next Blades Racing. Tell us what was going through your mind, Lucas, as you were racing in that big heat.
Well, I had lots of issues in there. I clipped like twice some gate, and I came into the 3rd place, but then I somehow passed the 3rd guy and finished it on the 3rd place, and that saved the day, basically.
If you hadn't come in 3rd then it would be you who's out in the semi-final. Instead, you've got Next Blades to contend with. How do you feel about that final?
Yeah, it was amazing, but so close. It could have gone in either way, so I'm out of words, basically.
And that final turn, Were your teammates who were out of that race, were they telling you that this race is yours, you've got to come in now?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Lucas, congratulations. We'll see Rotorama in the grand final.
Thank you.
What a great pilot. He was second in qualification, but he really stepped his game up here in the single heats and in the big heat. Well done. And this is where we see it. You're exactly right, Matt. It was 3 against 3 in heat points, and the finisher points made the decision.
Wow.
Super close.
(21 against 20 in finisher points. Rotorama go through. Like I said, the narrowest margin of victory we've ever had. It's very rare that we actually get it all tied up on heat points and we have to go to finisher points, and it's never ever been that close. I don't think it's ever actually been decided in the big heat. Nothing else in it other than Lucas Lamberski's third place finish getting them the one that they needed. So tight! So we've been praising Lucas's work there in getting his team to the grand final. Let's show you a little bit more about our team from the Czech Republic. We'll bring that to you any moment now. A little bit of a video about Rotorama before we see them racing in our grand final, which will be with us shortly, and then they're going to take on Next Place Racing. I think we can show you that thing about Rotorama right now.
We are a racing team with the best pilots in the region. So we develop our own products. We are big fans of drone racing. We are all flying for about 3 years, and we are really happy that we can compete with the best pilots in the world. We meet once or twice per week. The environment in the Czech Republic is quite diverse. There are many ruins of castles here. During winter it's a bit more challenging as the weather is really cold here in the Czech Republic. There is a lot of snow, a lot of rain, so it's also quite challenging to have the quads waterproofed, because when you land or crash in snow you need to be able to fly again. So these natural places are quite good because they're usually quite structured. Some holes, small ones, big ones. Every time you fly there, the track is quite new, so you need to learn quickly. When you are not flying in a completely comfortable environment, that's something that also helps you during the racing. As our pilots are quite young, they need to get more experience on the big scene with a lot of spectators, with a lot of stress. Flying in this cold environment helps you to train how to concentrate. Well, how to start on this? Before the final race, we were leaders of the overall rankings. Finally, we ranked third, which was a bit of disappointment after all that season. We tried to prepare ourselves as much as possible. We had all the technical parts were perfectly working, pilots were training before the races. During qualification we placed, I don't know, second or third, so quite good result. But in quarterfinals it's all about 2 or 3 flights, and sometimes you are just not lucky enough. I think that I was the only team owner who was also flying. It was really very exhausting and really very stressful for me. I have passed through many moments when it was just too much for me. I'm not trying to be the superhero who is able to do everything. And for this season I have decided to concentrate only on flying and not managing the team. I have introduced Jirka Fiedler to DCL, and he will be responsible for all the small details that need to be done and also for arguing for our team. For this season there is one big addition to the team, Lukáš Landvorský. He's one of the best pilots in the Czech Republic. He is completely comparable to Jakub Toman, who was our best pilot in last season, and I think that he also will be the best in 2018.
Each of our pilots excels in different styles, like Jakub and Lukáš are the fast guys, and Jan and David are the stable guys, the reliable guys.
The pilots that I take for a particular race, it's based on their long-term performance, not some tournament or something like that. As a pilot, I learned that I need to practice a bit more. I still believe I'm able to be competitive. That's my long-time passion, to work on something new or on something that it's not established yet. All the pilots in Rotorama are also my friends. It's not a business project. Our team for this season is even more powerful than before, so hopefully we will be able to manage it.
Yep.
Welcome to our grand final of the first Drone Prix here in Brussels for 2018. We had two amazing series last year, the Drone Champions League over this Mont, but in a different way. This track has really sorted things out today. We've seen fantastic fast flying, and we're going to see a really hot grand final, and not for the first time with these two teams. It is Next Blades Racing against Rotorama. First to the stage are number 1 in qualifying and number 1 from 2017. Okay, so the reigning world champions will, and first in qualifying today, will wander onto our stage in a bit, as will Rotorama.
Beautiful starting blocks.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, there's quite some tech inside of them as well.
Yes.
We have pressure sensors, which enables us to calculate the reaction time from the pilots.
Yeah.
And also there's an LED system in there, so we can see when a drone is armed, we can see when there's a jump start, so an early start. Actually, one of those white things, they start blinking in the color of the team. So there's a lot of time and thought and technology put into this.
Yeah, when they jump it as well, which we haven't had yet, and we even had a fast start of 0.11 was our best reaction time today.
Really?
If you jump the blocks, and they flash as well, so it's all tied together. So it's very, very visible. If you come and join us here at the Drone Champions League on site, then you really get a very live experience of what it's like for these pilots. Those starting blocks, as I mentioned earlier, on their range is V, with the fastest pilots from each team after the qualifying results at the back. So when we do the big heats and all 8 of them are flying, it is the fastest drones who are at the back, which I like.
Yep.
Ones there, as you can see, on the bottom left of that picture, and their slowest teammates are ahead of them. It will be Next Blades against Rotorama. Those teams are just getting everything ready before they come out, having only just raced in their semi-finals, so they're just making sure everything is ready for this grand final. And it's going to be really, really exciting to see what's going to happen. Meanwhile, from the sides, Quad Force 1 are working out whether they are third or whether Raiden Racing are third. I say they're working it out. They might be working it out, but somebody at DCL is more officially working it out. If Raiden Racing picked up more finisher points than Quad Force 1 have done, they both lost their semi-finals. One will be third, one will be fourth. It's the one with the most finisher points who are third. If Quad Force 1 didn't get as many as Raiden, then they'll be fourth. And they'll have 150 points.
Exactly.
And that is quite a lot to concede to Rotorama and Next Blades.
Yep.
Given how tight it is between these teams at the top. This one is going to go right the way to the wire. We've got another Drone Prix tomorrow live to you, of course, here on YouTube and Facebook from 7 p.m. Central European Time, just like today. And then in a few weeks, we settle this season with 2 races in Rapperswil, near Zurich in Switzerland. And I think we're going to be going, as we did last year, into a final day of the season with it all up for grabs. Which is, you couldn't ask for tighter, more exciting ends than we get here at DCL.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we had some great races already today. Some super close finishes.
Based on that, would you care to suggest who you think is gonna win out of our 2 teams who are going to race in our grand final?
Would you like me to guess?
No, I'd like you to analyse and predict.
Analyse and predict. Well,
which at this stage I know may well mean guess.
I have to say, Rotorama and Lucas Lenvorski especially him, are putting in a super consistent and very impressive show here. But also, Luke Bannister, the fastest pilot from Next Blaze, is back. And I think, if I had to take a guess, yes, we're going to have the fastest qualifying pilot in our 4th single heat against the 2nd fastest pilot.
Oh, hello.
And that's going to be an amazing heat I'm looking forward to a lot. And that could be the heat actually where it's all going to be decided. It could be.
The one where it's all decided?
Yep, it could be.
Who are you specifically talking about there?
Well, Luke Bannister and Lucas Lamvorsky. Yeah. So their time is 0.5 of a second apart. So
and that's in qualifying, and we've seen them both really go all guns in here as well.
Definitely, yeah. I would say they're flying even faster now. So it's going to be super interesting what's going to happen. If I had to take a well-estimated and well-thought-out guess...
And sprung on you, because I didn't tell you I was going to ask you.
I'm going to go with Next Blaze today.
Today?
Yep, I think they are the better team today. But then again, it's super close together, you know? We have to see how it's going to play out. It's just a matter of the tiniest mistakes, you know? Missing one corner, going wide, a little bit wide, that can cost you a race.
These are two teams who are so experienced, not just here with DCL, but in drone flying, you know, the whole world and the whole community of drone flying. Neither of these teams are going to sort of suffer from, you know, nerves and things like that, I would expect at this stage. It may have looked like one or two of them feeling a little bit...
Yeah,
we weren't sure about Luke, example, earlier on. But we know that these are really good pilots who can definitely perform. We also know that there's a lot of heat between these two teams. When we got to the final of the 2017 season, Next Blaze were the world champions after those races in Berlin, and Rotorama only lost it to them on that final day of racing. So yeah, really exciting to see these. Quad Force 1, I mentioned them, they're in second in our leaderboard, 70 points behind Rotorama, and then 30 points ahead of Next Blades. So Next Blades might do some damage here. Let's go to our stage, though, where Lucas Baumann, our chief judge, is with us.
2 minutes countdown for Rotorama. 2 minutes countdown.
Now that is interesting.
That is. Go on.
Yeah, Rotorama obviously is having some technical issues. They have to prepare their drones, and the call that we just got from our chief judge means that they've only got 2 minutes left to show up to the main stage and make it to the final. If they do not do that, if they can't make it somehow, there could be damage done with drones, it could be they don't have any batteries, it could be other technical problems. But if they do not make it to the stage in, let's say, 1 minute and 30 seconds now,
that's it.
They're going to be DQ'd.
So what I think will happen is Rotorama will turn up at our stage with some drones and some pilots ready to go. They're clearly going to try and put some kind of a showing into this, but there is a time between our rounds that they have to adhere to, and it is starting to tick away for Rotorama. We've never had a team not make it to a round that they have to race in, regardless of whether it was quarters, semis, or the grand final, and it would be unheard of for a team with the experience and, you know, that whole infrastructure that Rotorama has. It would be unbelievable if they didn't make it. Looks like the grand final is upon us. Let's go live to our stage and let's welcome Next Blaze Racing. We welcome to the stage our reigning world champions, Next Blaze Racing.
There they are. Luke Bannister on the right, Brett Collis, Gary Kent, and on the far left we have Timothy Trowbridge.
Our red Czech Republic team, they have made it. Let's welcome onto the stage Rotorama. They're here, they're in numbers. Have they got all the equipment with them that they need? Well, we'll find out. They are Rotorama. Let's have a look. We've got 4 pilots.
Yep.
We've got 4 pilots getting wired up. Cutting it a little bit fine, Rotorama. I had some fun yesterday with Jakob Thoman, left of your picture there. He was telling me early on in the day that one of their pilots had smashed 3 quads in their 4 runs of practice.
No way.
In 4 runs, smashed 3. And then I did a live stream with him, and you may, I'm going to call him out on this because they were late to the stage. You might have joined us on Facebook last night. We did a little bit of live stream, me with Alex Campbell, Jakob Thoman, and Gary Kent, talking about their 3 teams at the top of our leaderboard for this season, and how they were feeling about it. And I asked Jakob, so who was it on your team? And he went, oh, no, it was all of us. We all crashed things. It wasn't one pilot. And I was there thinking, I've got this mistaken, Martijn. I've got all confused. I must have misunderstood Mr. Jakob Thoman. And then afterwards I was like, I'm sorry, I really thought you said 1 pilot crashed 3. And he said, no, 1 pilot did crash 3. I just didn't want to show him up.
Ah, but
so
it's
I'm
probably
calling
him.
you out.
I think it's him.
I still actually don't know. I saw them earlier on today in our pits area, and I was like, so who was it? When you said yesterday that it was all of you, and actually it was only one of you, who was it? I still don't know.
Yes, okay. Well, we have to do some research.
They are keeping it. They're keeping it mum. They're keeping it private as a team, which I admire, actually. That was really good team spirit. And Jakob to not show any of his teammates up. So I've done it for you, because you're late. Final, it's the grand final. It's live for you from Brussels, and in the lead is Timothy Trowbridge. So Jan Votava will go through the Breitling gate side by side with him. Our first single heat of our grand final of our first Drone Prix in Brussels. Votava has the lead through the gallery. Trowbridge still in the air with him, and out of the Skygate, extremely high. Trowbridge is going to bring that down with a lot of speed. That'll get reviewed, I think, when I suspect he's probably just about within limits, but he turned what looked like a big loss of time into a massive acceleration in speed as he headed back down towards the ground. He does, however, still have Votava in front of him. Votava looking like he's taking a kind of narrower line and cleaner line on things, and oh no, the gallery's got him. And the netting on the other side of the gallery has finished him. The course and the points will go to Timothy Trowbridge for Next Blades Racing. Votava was giving him a real fight though, and Trowbridge has pulled out of that lap. Goes on his customary little tour before he finds the crash gate. Grand Finals first single heat goes to Next Blades. Bit of relief on Timothy's face.
Timothy happy? Yeah. He's doing so well, flying super smooth. He was part of the Swiss team, I believe, last year.
Yeah, that's right. He was with FPV Racing.
Let's take a look at what happened here. Votava inside of the gallery in all sorts of problems, hitting the left side, but actually managed to stay up there. But
it's curtains on that side. The inside of the gallery on the left-hand side, the bit where it turns black, those are drapes and curtains that we've put in there. So I think he got saved from hitting a wall, and which is why he managed to recover it. Otherwise, that would probably have wiped out at least one prop.
10 seconds countdown.
Timothy Trowbridge puts Next Blades Racing in the lead. Gary Kent will look to beat David Svoboda in our second single heat of our grand final. Away they go, not much in it between them, across the lawns of the Mont and turning through the Breitling gate with Kent in the lead over Svoboda. There's not much between them. The Ibis gate has them air sharing, and Svoboda takes the lead as they head into the gallery. Kent's not quite so quick through this as 1 or 2 of his teammates out. So the lead still Svoboda's out of the Skygate. He comes, no he doesn't. Red drone goes in, blue one goes in, blue one comes out. Svoboda. That Skygate, he's got experience in this kind of thing. Gary Kent, that's one of his better finishes. Svoboda went into the Skygate, never came out. Again, I don't know if he hit a wall or if he hit part of the frame. Hopefully we'll be able to show that to you. You were saying you thought this might be Next Blades Racing's day.
As I said earlier, Gary Kent not really known for launching and starting off the blocks that fast, but today he did, and it really paid off. Let's take a look at what happened with David Svoboda here.
This is his route. He's come out of the gallery.
Going up, hitting the side of it.
Was it the side?
I would say so.
It might have been the bar that you fly under to go into the Skygate. You might have raised up a little bit too soon.
Yeah, it's difficult to see as well. It's getting darker and darker. It could also be that he just clipped the battery, and the batteries are most of the time, actually all of the times, they're underneath the drone, and then disconnecting, because he did lose video instantly.
Brett Collis will race Jakob Thoman if Jakob Thoman
10 seconds countdown.
Gets his video signal. Oh no, he's armed, he's ready to go. Both drones ready to fly. Thoman with the lead over Collis as they fly through the Breitling gates around the pylon. And more of a split S from one way to the other for Thoman. Collis did the same thing but in the opposite direction. They'll head towards the gallery. No, they'll head towards the gallery. Thoman is in it. For a moment we thought he'd lost it. As Collis has passed him, Thoman has passed Collis. Through the Skygate, the lead goes from one to the other, around side by side, air sharing the entire 540-degree corkscrew. Never seen anything like it in a corkscrew turn. Both of them there, both taking their respective paths like a double helix and kept it all alive. Thoman in the lead on the second lap now. The gallery awaits him. Collis some way behind as Thoman exits gallery at 39.77. Collis is going to be 3 seconds behind him now. Out of that Skygate again. Not only is he quick on the exit of it, but he's quick on the turn following it and going back. You look back 180 degrees to head towards that Brussels corkscrew. The Breitling gate sees Collis take 2 seconds out of that deficit. He's closing in on Thoman, but it's the last part of the course now, and Thoman buries it, and Collis clips it. You can see he tried to mail it in so fast at the ends. But Thoman was already in, and Collis has stuck it onto the crash gate. I've never seen one attached there before.
No.
It does make me wonder if there's a prop that's punctured it and it's hanging.
I think we
it does look a little bit like he's punctured it.
Yeah, I think he has. I think we need to bring in some magic duct tape.
I think we may need to do like in action films where, you know, the hero is injured and there's a big bit sticking out of him. They go, no, leave it in there. We can't remove it.
Exactly.
If we remove it, you'll die.
This is where we have Jakob Thoman actually struggling in the beginning of the race.
Yeah, that's a surprise. So that's where he passed him.
Brett Collis overtook him. Brett Collis nearly making it into it.
So that drone might have to live there or the brush gate might sink. Yep, still there? Yeah, it has, hasn't it? I'm giving you a good look at what a Red Bull crash gate has. And we've flattened a Red Bull crash gate all around the world. They've taken beatings and holes many times, but we've never put a drone partly in it. We put a drone through one. Collis will hang around. This, ladies and gentlemen, may be the race of the day. Luke Bannister and Lucas Lenversky. 0.13, 0.23 of a second as Bannister away of Lenversky, and he pulls it to much more than that as they head towards the Ibis gates. Half a second. The gallery on board with Lenversky, passing Bannister on the way through. Bannister with him, the Skygate, and Lenversky has headed towards the Skygate and he's gone under the tree line to the right. You might have seen his light still flickering from a canopy. He's in the trees. Looks like he fancied some racing that we did last year, but unfortunately we're not in that part of the Monday Art this year. Bannister does not hang around on the exit, and another out breath. He does that every time. He's just like,
yeah.
He's like holding his breath all the way around.
Adrenaline and the energy is just rushing through your body, you know.
Another 3-1 for a big heat. I mean, this one's the grand final. Zemversky wants to show us that's where we were racing last year, under these trees. And we had a few accidents like that last year.
Yep. I've seen my fair share of those trees last year.
I do miss the tree tunnel, I'm not going to lie, but we do instead have a really, really incredibly technical course.
So what's so beautiful about those two pilots racing is that it's so smooth and so flowy.
Flowy.
Yeah, flowy. Yeah, that means what you do not want is what you see here with Votava, also a great pilot, by the way, is moving from left to right, you know, shaking the FPV footage all over.
Twitching around.
Twitching around, exactly. And that's where you lose a lot of speed and a lot of momentum. And what I want to see from these pilots is I want to see smooth lines. I want to see racing lines. And that's when it may look slower, actually, but it is a lot and a lot faster. And that's what we see with these top pilots just now, you know. Gary Kent, also super smooth pilot. Svoboda, and Lenversky, and
Thoman, Votava.
I can't find names anymore, Matt.
That's all right.
I'm just too excited for this big heat coming up.
Well, let's discuss what we need to see. as we watch more of Brett Collis take on Jakob Thoman. It's 3-1. Ready for this? It's 3-1 in heat points, and it's dead even in finisher points.
Ooh.
So Rotorama are 3-1 down, so they will need to win this grand final big heat, and they will need second place alongside it to get the 2 heat points to equal next place. Get 3. We're coming in first, second, and third, and you will be the winners of our first Drone Prix in Brussels. 2 heat points needed to tie with Next Blades. In doing so, you'll pick up 2 finisher points, which give you a lead of 2 finisher points. But if Next Blades come in third and somewhere else, and they get 2 finisher points, this could be super, super tight.
Yeah, now that's what I mean with a nice racing line, man. Luke Bannister absolutely nailing that last race, last corner. Full speed into the crash gate. Yeah, 3-1. You're exactly right, Matt. Not that I doubted you.
Oh, bless you.
I never do that.
No.
Finisher points, 22, both of them. So what does that mean, Matt?
Well, yeah. So you've got to come in. If you're Rotorama, you have to come in first and second. Yep. That's just it.
That's the bottom line.
You've got to get those 2 heat points before anything else comes into consideration. Get 3 and you win. Get 3 heat points coming first, second, and third. You've got this thing for the
10 seconds countdown.
If they come in first and second, then it takes case of who actually finished in this. It'll be which team had the most finishers in this big heat, because it's all square going into it. But Rotorama have to get 2 red drones at the front, or the day belongs to our world champions Next Blades. And one of the blue ones is handing it to him, and it might be Collis and Kent. There are crashes all over the Mont. You need at least 2 red ones to finish, and they've got to be at the front. Rotorama. Lucas Lemversky has wrecked his in that Skygate, and this is the big heat of a grand final that neither team wanted at all. Trowbridge and Collis look like they are crawling around this thing, because somebody's actually got to do something to stop Rotorama getting the points, and it looks like Rotorama decided they'll just stop themselves. If none of Lemversky, Votava or Thoman can get back up in the air, then Svoboda, it's not going to get it all done by himself, because he can't come in first and second. Very, very high out of the Skygate. Svoboda's still in it. Trowbridge is up front, but it's not the fastest we've seen of anybody today. Svoboda's not even close to him to try and get second, never mind first. Collis, I don't know what happened to him. He's not going particularly fast, and he's crashed it. Trowbridge gets the win. Next Blades Racing get the grand final. Our champions here in Brussels of this big heat, and the day will be the reigning world champions, and they'll close the gap on Rotorama for this season. That's not the big heat that anybody really wanted to see. We're still getting drones finishing? 21 seconds, Brett?
No.
I mean, nice of you to turn up.
Yeah, what actually happened there is that Luke Bannister, he wasn't able to get off. What a crazy big heat in this final. What a crazy heat, because 3 of the Rotorama drones were crashing, or have crashed rather. Svoboda was still flying, but yeah, they needed the top 2 finish. Now let's take a look at it. Lucas Lemversky here. A little bit high coming into the Skygate, and yeah, having to make an impossible dip there. Brett Collis was a little bit lost. Yeah, he thought he already did the corkscrew, but he didn't. Had to go back. Yeah, that's what we spoke about earlier, Matt. As soon as the pilots have to think and they start thinking, that's when mistakes are made.
Don't think.
No, don't think. No, you're absolutely right. You know what we call it as pilots, or as former pilots speaking, is what you want to put up your goggle and really feel like, man, what just happened? That means that you're in the zone, you know, you're not thinking, you're just flying on autopilot, and that's when you're the fastest.
It is Next Blades Racing who are the fastest today. We'll get an interview with them and see how they feel about having got another 250 points towards their season. They needed it. Rotorama will pick up 220 though, so Next Blaze Racing, they were 100 points behind Rotorama. They'll only close it by a little bit. Quad Force 1, meanwhile, are watching on from the sidelines. Are they going to be third or fourth? How many more points are they going to concede to these teams? We'll find out soon. Next Blaze Racing might even pass them in our leaderboards. Don't forget, we're doing this all again tomorrow, live to you from 7 p.m. Central European Time. A whole other set of qualifying, probably leading to different quarterfinals, as the teams will no doubt get seeded differently on day 2, because they always do.
Look at those happy faces from Next Blaze.
I'm sure we'll talk to them in a minute, but they are looking very, very pleased. They're no stranger to winning, but they always do enjoy it when it happens.
Oh yeah, oh yes, definitely.
There they are.
Great guys, great team spirit, all helping each other out, building the drones, doing repairs. And today, it all came together for them, you know? Actually, Next Blaze is flying some new motors. They fly T-motor F80s right now, and they have the biggest and most powerful and bulky motors out there. And it really paid off for them, especially on this track, which is so fast. It's a really high-speed track. It has some technical elements, but overall, the average speed here is super, super high. Yeah, they had the right tech for the job. And the right pilots as well, huh?
And seemingly at least one right hat. I don't know. Getting fashion ready for our big moment on the stage.
Was that a Quad Force 1 cap?
It might have been.
Yeah, it looked like it. Yeah, yeah.
What's going on there? Quad Force 1 trying to make an appearance on the top step of the podium.
Maybe.
They've won some. They can do it themselves.
Some guerrilla marketing.
Timothy's rocking out. Gary's rocking out. Luke's shunned both of them by turning away. That's the bell tower here, looking over the Mont. So here's the standings then for the season. After all the points rated up today, the 250 that Next Blaze Racing have got has moved them up into second place. Only 20 points ahead of Quad Force 1, who they were behind. Rotorama, though, are pulled away from both of them on 1,420 after getting 220 for a runners-up position today. Raiden Racing, who were fourth, are fourth, and it's pretty much business as usual. Air Carvers Germany, they got fifth place. Of the 4 teams who went out in the quarterfinals, they picked up 80 points for the fifth place based on the finishing points that they'd accumulated up to that stage. That's their fifth place of the season. So they have moved up from rock bottom to 7th. So those are our standings. Rotorama will be the champions as we go on into tomorrow's racing.
Yeah, so what we can see here is that the top 3 teams, you know, it's still up for grabs. It's still up for grabs. This entire season, anything can still happen.
Martijn, it's been a really, really great day of racing. Do you expect it to be... how do you think the teams are going to fare tomorrow?
Well, what we've seen some amazing racing by Rotorama, by Next Blaze Racing, Quad Force 1. The top 3 teams really did super well. Also, I feel bad for Air Carvers almost making it to the semifinals, but just in that final big heat, it was all decided. They just didn't quite make it. I hope they will do a lot better tomorrow, and also I actually hope that we're going to see a little bit more changes in the top 3. So we could see Quad Force 1 taking back Next Blaze, the second place, but maybe even we could see Next Blaze making a big jump to the first place. Anyway, I had an absolute blast being here. I had so much fun. I've been here as a pilot last year. But actually, let's have a word with our final winners of Next Blaze Racing.
So we'll have a quick chat with our champions before we crown them our champions here in Brussels. Brett, congratulations, another win for Next Blaze Racing. They all matter.
Yep, every win matters. We're behind in the season standings, so obviously made some ground ups today, which is good. That's what we came here to do. Try and do it all again tomorrow.
As a team, you think this all came together much more smoothly for you? I know when we were in Scimitar, you guys had some technical issues. You weren't so happy with that one.
Yeah, I mean, we still had a few technical issues there. Luke's quad wouldn't work on the line, but I think we made up for it. It didn't matter in the end, luckily.
Luke, what happened to you in our final? Come here, Banny UK. What happened to you in our final?
So I was on the line. I arm checked it, all good, and then when the beep started, I armed it again and checked my crossfire, and it was like disconnected. So I was like, oops, this is bad. Checked the settings, everything was good. Then once everyone was down, my quad worked again, took back off, and then I started flying, and I was like, should I be flying right now? So I just crashed into a net.
Well, that's your very technical explanation of how you don't really feature in a grand final. Gary, you happy with this one? There's a big smile on your face like we usually see.
Yeah, it was a great race. Timothy brought it home in the end. He flew amazing. So yeah, really happy for the win.
Timothy, feeling good?
Oh, I feel awesome. Last time I was here, Swiss team. Now it's next place, but this time it's first place. So that's good.
We don't often get a chance to talk to Dominic Roche, team manager, but since you're here, final words from you about your boys?
Super proud. Couldn't be more proud. The tradition of last year, maybe we can continue it again. It would be really nice. Pumped for tomorrow, happy for today.
That's it. We are, of course, doing this all again, but our champions of this day are Next Blades Racing. Thank you very much, guys, for the interview. We will bring you onto our stage in a moment and crown you our champions.
Et nous, on est très contents d'avoir 3 personnalités. On va demander d'abord à David Wetzman de remettre. David Wetzman qui est député à la ville de la région prochaine, parmi les erreurs qui corrigent, très branché au sport. David Wetzman va remettre le prix à ceux qui terminent sur la 3e marche du podium. La 3e place, deuxième place. USA Quad Force One.
So, to our stage, ladies and gentlemen, after the amazing racing that we've had here at our Drone Prix in Brussels, please welcome in 3rd place, Quad Force One! Presenting their trophy, Alain Courtois, the Sports Commissioner of Brussels City for Quad Force One, who are in 3rd place here in Brussels. Ladies and gentlemen, 3rd place, Quad Force One. The runners-up from our grand final from the Czech Republic, they are Rotorama! And we have Eva Schilling, the director of IBIS Brussels, to present them with their runners-up trophy. Rotorama! But now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please loudly congratulate our champions. They are Next Blades Racing! Timothy Trowbridge, Gary Kent, Brett Collis, and Luke Bannister with their entourage. Next Blades Racing.
Here's the best.
The champions of our Drone Prix in Brussels, Next Blades Racing! Thanks to all of our teams for an amazing day's racing here in Brussels. We will return and do it all again tomorrow, live from 7 p.m. Central European Time. Qualifying will have happened earlier in the day. Who will be racing who in the quarterfinals? We will find out as the racing takes place 7 p.m. Central European Time. Can Next Blades get 2 in a row? Can Rotorama turn it around? Can Quad Force One close the gap on these competitors? Or will another team turn up and change it for everybody? We thank everybody involved in Brussels for letting us come back for our 2018 season. We'll see you again tomorrow from 7 p.m. Central European Time. But from Brussels, congratulations to Next Blades Racing!